myself, and they have my highest recommendation. Just text the word PROTECT to 989898, and they'll send you a free info kit on how to get started. In my opinion, gold IRAs are one of the best ways to protect your savings no matter what happens in America or around the world. And the best company to work with is Birch Gold. So text the word PROTECT to 989898 to get everything you need to know about protecting your savings with gold.
And now award-winning local news coverage with Brian Hauswirth on 93.9 The Eagle.
93.9 The Eagle News Time with Robinson's Cleaners. Robinson saves you time. It is 6:03. Right now we do have some light rain falling in Columbia. We're expecting a slight chance of rain today. Otherwise cloudy with a high of 69 degrees. Rain is likely tonight, low near 57. Tomorrow, rain and a high of 63 degrees. Good morning, everyone. And here are some of the stories we are working on for you on this busy Tuesday morning. The clock is ticking right now for the Missouri legislature to approve a final congressional redistricting map. The Senate approved a new map Thursday, but it is different than the one approved by the House earlier this year. You'll recall the House actually approved their map in January. East Central Missouri Congressman Blaine Luetkemeyer hopes the House doesn't make any changes with this latest map that came over Thursday.
My greatest fear is that they start tinkering around with it in a way that the Senate then wouldn't pass it down the road a second time, and then you wind up going to the courts.
Now, the Senate map moves Boone, Cooper, and Manitowoc counties from the 4th District to Lutkemeyer's 3rd District. If a new map is not approved by 5 o'clock today, the congressional districts enacted after the 2010 census would remain in place, at least for this election. Branden and Stephanie will break this down in detail throughout the morning. Secretary Ashcroft, by the way, is going to play a key role in this based on what he said on the program last week. Meantime, not guilty. That is the plea from a Kansas City area trucker who is charged with involuntary manslaughter for a December I-70 crash that killed a Boone County Fire Assistant Chief. His name is 64-year-old Kevin Brunson. He appeared in court Monday for his initial arraignment. He tells the court he has not applied yet for a public defender. Boone County Circuit Judge Brooke Jacobs read the charge in court to Brunson, noting an involuntary manslaughter conviction has a sentence of between 3 and 10 years in state prison. Missouri State Troopers say an ambulance and Boone County Fire District Assistant Chief Bryant Gladney's vehicles had their emergency lights activated on December the 22nd when they were struck by Brunson's tractor trailer. The patrol's crash report says the truck driver failed to slow down. The court has banned Brunson from operating any commercial motor vehicle. Now, I was in court yesterday for the video arraignment. At first, I thought that they were having technical problems with the hookup from the jail, but it appeared that Kevin Brunson fell asleep in court. The jail had to wake him up. Once he woke up, he pleaded not guilty to the charge. Prosecutors are requesting a life prison sentence for a Jefferson City man convicted of killing an off-duty corrections officer during a robbery. ABC 17's Eric McGuire reports Jefferson City police are now seeing a larger gun in a number of crimes.
The prosecution called JCPD Detective Jason Ambler. Ambler says that Jefferson City's rising crime rate has caused greater turnover within the department. Ambler testified that law enforcement sees more crimes using larger extended magazines and guns compared to 10 years ago.
ABC 17's Eric McGuire, who was at the Cole County Courthouse for the trial, a jury convicting Juwan Worley of second-degree murder for the 2018 robbery and killing of Justin Kamrich, who had 6 children. Another victim was shot 3 times. Several of Kamrich's children did testify during the sentencing phase, according to McGuire, who was in the courtroom. Jefferson City's next school superintendent describes the district's teachers as JCPS's lifeline to success. Brian McGraw, currently the Jefferson City School District's deputy superintendent. He also spent 11 years as the superintendent at the North Pocono District in Pennsylvania. In Columbia, regional airport officials plan an April event. They want to give you a behind-the-scenes tour of a $23 million new terminal under construction. The guided tour, if you want to mark your calendar, April the 12th. It'll be 3:30 in the afternoon. Airport manager Mike Park says it's important for everyone to have an opportunity to see the progress that has been made. If you need special accommodations for the tour, you can call 573 817-5064, 817-5064. You can also call that number if you have any questions about the tour. Our news is brought to you live this morning by AirServe Heating and Air Conditioning, ensuring the air in which you live and breathe is comfortable and clean. For all of your cooling needs, log on to airserve.com. 93.9 The Eagle News Time, 6:06. Turning our attention now to sports. Now, we're going to be paying close attention to the weather. This event has actually been moved up, and this, folks, is a big deal. I'm not going to mention all the names that are scheduled to be there because they're trying to get in before this storm that is going to come into southwest Missouri tomorrow. But a big event in Springfield. A lot of country music stars, NASCAR stars are scheduled to be there. Again, hopefully they can get in before the rain. Missouri's governor will join Bass Pro's Johnny Morris and a number of stars in Springfield. Opening ceremony tonight, Bass Pro Shops World's Fishing Fair, celebrating the 50th anniversary of Bass Pro Shops in Springfield. Bass Pro describing the event as a one-of-a-kind showcase of fishing, boating, conservation, and the great outdoors. NASCAR representatives also scheduled to be at the event. It'll start at 5 o'clock. That will take place for a couple of days. Mizzou baseball team heading to Sauget, Illinois. Illinois to battle Illinois in the bragging rights rivalry. First pitch tonight, 6:05. That ballpark is called GCS Credit Union Ballpark. It is where the Gateway Grizzlies play. Mizzou on the year 12-7. All the action tonight. Tex and Matt on our sister station, KTGR, FM 100.5. Our sports brought to you this hour by Adam Kinser, ServiceMaster of Columbia.com. Our news time, 6:08.
On ABC 17, Stormtrack meteorologist Kevin Schneider will be treated to a brief warm-up today, even with the clouds being tough to shake. Temperatures will top out in the low 70s this afternoon, with even a stray sprinkle possible. Showers and thunderstorms will move in overnight as lows stay nice and warm in the low 60s, with that chance of rain becoming a little more scattered tomorrow, but staying with us. Temperatures cool off into the 50s by the afternoon. I'm meteorologist Kevin Schneider, and that's your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast on 93.9 The Eagle.
All right, Kevin, thanks so much. Right now, we do have cloudy skies, 43.
93.9 Eagle Eye Traffic.
Traffic check, MidmoHires.com. Local companies looking for local people. MidmoHires.com. Find a job, post your job opening today. Roads are quiet here in mid-Missouri. If you want to report a traffic issue, our number is 573-874-9390. You can call or text that number. More team coverage in less than 30 minutes. Breaking news immediately. I'm Brian Hauswirth, the 93.9 The Eagle.
Well, here's what's going to happen now. And I want to tell you directly, Karl Rove and Mitch McConnell, hear me now. You are disgusting cowards, and we are coming for you. We are no longer going to allow you not just to attack me and to attack my kids, but to destroy this country. And that's what you're doing. You're making life hard for millions of families around this country by cooperating with the left, by stabbing President Trump in the back, by stabbing the people of America in the back, and we're not going to stand for it anymore. Know this, the freedom wing of the Republican Party, true patriots, true conservatives, we're coming for you. And we're not just taking back our party, we're taking back our country. We see your game, we know your lies, but we also know this, that in the end of the day, truth prevails.
We're taking back this stuff, we're taking back that. I'm getting accused of smacking my kids. Chris Rock getting smacked by Will Smith. Just all kinds of violence here over the past few days. Eric Greitens in a hotel room talking into his camera saying, we are coming for you. We are coming for you. Big change in the U.S. Senate race out of Missouri. This on the Democrat side.
Yeah, but Greitens said, know this. And yesterday, I think you were talking about the phrase, let me be clear. Are those the same thing?
Know this. The White House says, we've been very clear in cleaning up Biden's messes.
Yeah, let me be clear.
Let me be clear. There is a lot of clarity coming out of the White House. The clarity coming out of the White House is the clarification of Joe Biden's comments, because he keeps making comments, and everybody on a worldwide stage, especially us Americans, are going, oh, God, Joe. And we know, Steph, you should see Stephanie and I in this studio every time we know that Joe Biden is getting ready to go and walk some. We're like, oh, boy, you're hiding your head.
Face in the hands.
Oh, God. And he hasn't been disappointing. He's been disappointing the people in the White House that have to go back and clarify his comments, clean up his comments. So here's big news. Really, a couple of things happening. We do have a new candidate in the race, the Missouri race, for that U.S. Senate seat on the Democrat side. But this is a name with some pretty substantial clout. So this could really twist things up, I think, even whole-wise. Even though we are on a red state, wait till you find out who this candidate is. Meanwhile, new polling numbers, real clear politics. It had been pretty much all. Here's how the polls basically keep falling out. Poll after poll has showed Greitens getting potentially he could win a primary with less than a quarter of the vote, because you got Schmidt, Hartzler, Billy Long, Mark McCloskey, and all of that.
Schatz is in there too.
Schatz is in there too. So poll just came out over the weekend. Shows a different leader. Now you've got Schatz 3%, Billy Long 9%, McCloskey 5%, Hartzler 19%. Greitens picking up 21% of the vote. He's the one who has usually been leading these polls. New leaders in this latest poll. Attorney General Eric Schmidt with a 3-point lead over Eric Greitens in polls. For what polls are worth. Polls move around, things happen, things shift. But I think, so since the latest set of allegations against the former governor and former Democrat, the latest allegations may be hurting Greitens a bit, because he had been consistently leading when you put all the Republicans together.
Well, and Schmidt is also who I think gets a bump by this new candidate getting in on the Democrat side.
So the new candidate getting in on the Democrat side, St. Louis beer heiress. Her name is Trudy Bush Valentine.
And Bush with a C, like Bush beer.
That's the daughter of August. It is.
She's joined the heated race for Missouri's U.S. Senate seat. As a matter of fact, I think Senator Scott Sifton, he's like, all right, I'm out. This is a far better candidate than me. Not only am I out, but here's boxes of stuff from my campaign that you can use. Here you go, Miss Trudy Bush. Whatever you want, because I know against you I won't have a chance. So instead of trying to fight against you, I will have a chance. But then let's say that Trudy Bush ends up going forward in the general. Do you think with name, I know name recognition isn't everything, but it can be. And I say why it's not everything. Look at what happened with Cori Bush and the Clay family. Clay's held that seat for 50 years, the father and son. Cori Bush goes in there with the message, defund the police, white people are bad, we're going to fix it, and she wins.
She won. She's getting a primary challenge herself, by the way, from State Senator Steve Roberts, and there's some elected Democrats who are supporting him. I think, it's hard to say. We're so far out right now. There's no guarantee this Bush Valentine's going to win the primary. There's no guarantee. I mean, she's not held elected office. Some of the primary opponents may use that against her, but we'll see. I mean, certainly people know who she is. It was a surprise to me, but no guarantee she's going to win the primary. I was surprised Sifton did drop out, because he has really been campaigning for that hard two-term seat. Two-term state senator, was in the House for a couple of terms. Probably in terms of legislative experience on either side, legislative experience, may have more than anyone else. So we'll see. He could go back and potentially do something else. He's termed out in the state Senate, but he could theoretically run sometime again for the Missouri House. I don't know. The only other point I'd make about Eric Greitens that you were pointing out, take this for what it's worth. His campaign manager showed pictures over the weekend, and it was packed. I can tell you, I was in the boot heel a couple times for stories, and Greitens at the time before his impeachment was very popular in the boot heel, very popular because of him trying to get that steel factory. And he apparently got a standing ovation on Saturday based on what his campaign manager said in Gobbler in Dunklin County. And again, he is focusing his campaign in certain areas. He knows he's popular, and he's always had a lot of support in the boot heel. So the fact that he is in this video that you just described, him going after Rove and McConnell, that was interesting. He also is he criticized his ex-wife during an interview with Austin Peterson as well. So we'll see. It's going to be interesting to see. We got a lot of stuff we're going to be watching.
So the first thing I did when I heard this news yesterday was I Googled, because Hannah, do you remember this? The Bush family had a reality TV show on MTV.
I don't remember that.
It was like during COVID 2020, and I was thinking, is she the one that was on? Because there's so many of the, I mean, they have tons of siblings, and it wasn't her who was on the reality TV show. It was Billy Bush, who, if you recall, he was the one that was going to start up a new beer brand, the Craftig beer, and I think that's gone away. And he himself has like 7 children, so it was all of his children who now I think are trying to be influencers. But if you're interested in learning more, I did watch some of the show, I'm embarrassed to admit, but it was interesting because it was filmed in St. Louis, so you see them, they're like at Napoli eating, and you see things, and the family now, I think the family, there was some litigation, and they own Grant's Farm, which many people are familiar with now. I think they had to like buy that back or something.
It's so hard
but
to
it
tell. Yeah.
It was neat to see St. Louis featured on a reality TV show.
So was it a reality show like Siesta Key or who's the Italians?
The kids like to party. I remember that much of it. And, they were talking about building this business that then never really came into fruition. But there were some good moments.
874-9390. Dave, what's on your mind?
Hey, I was just going to tell you, speaking of Cory Bush, I think you ought to get a blue T-shirt and put decimal point 18,000 on it, and then underneath it in parentheses, represented by Cuckoo Cory.
You might have to explain that further because we all have blank faces. I'm glad to know I'm not the only one not getting this.
The 18,000 hit me on. She was one for clemency, but the decimal point 18,000, that's how many people she actually represents in the state of Missouri, because she doesn't represent anybody but herself.
Yeah, I will tell you, it's interesting, actually, Dave, that you bring that up, because one of the folks, Senator Stephen Roberts, he's going after a challenge. Democrats Earl Childress of Florissant, Ron Harshaw of St. Louis have also criticized Bush's positions. And my overall takeaway is that they're saying she's in it for her. She's not in it to serve the people of St. Louis. She is in it for her. I'll quote one of them. We all had the highest hopes for Congresswoman Bush, but she's shown over the past year and a half that she's not interested in the job of the United States representative. We don't have time for slogans. I'm ready to get to work. By the way, we featured Andrew Jones on our show a couple of weeks ago. Now, he is a black gentleman running on the Republican side to challenge her. He's getting some traction. He was on Fox News last week. After our interview, Fox News picked him up because this is a guy who has the challenge of being a black conservative in this crazy first district in St. Louis. And I call him crazy because they elected Cory Bush, and she has done nothing but go and really promote herself. And you can't do that when you're part of a team or you're part of a district. You can't take over. You are part of a team. You can't steal and be the member of the team. You can't be the leading member of the group. You are a servant. You are an elected servant to serve those people. That is your job. She needs to understand what her job is. Her job is not to go on and do what I want to do. Her job is to be a part of that district and rep those people and build those people up, just like any team. That's what you do. She ain't doing it. David, thank you for the phone call. We hope that you have a great day. So now this map, I reached out to State Representative Sarah Walsh right now. Sarah Walsh. She is in the Missouri House of Representatives. She is running for that 4th Congressional District seat. Her 4th Congressional District seat got a couple of new boundaries. She is directly affected by this. Asked her to come on yesterday. She didn't want to do it because the caucus hadn't met. I reached out to her yesterday. So after the caucus meets, why don't you come on today? And her response yesterday was no decision in caucus. Basically, it was an airing of grievances, and there were many. We will be working through the process. We're going to have more on this coming up with Christopher Arps, 635 here on 93.9 The Eagle. But first, we got to get into the daily D.C. rundown with Stephanie Bell. What's underneath the circus tent this morning?
Well, what is Mitch McConnell calling bloated liberal nonsense?
The talk show for awesome folks like you. Wake Up Columbia, 93.9 The Eagle.
It's about supporting the illegals here, continuing that magnet, but doing nothing in the way of helping construct the wall or give the resources that our Border Patrol agents need to do their job.
It's Florida Rep. Kamek talking about this budget, like a record budget being proposed by Joe Biden, talking about the wall. That's her take in Florida. That gets us into today's daily D.C. rundown on 93.9 The Eagle.
Florida was front and center yesterday when Governor Ron DeSantis signed into law this bill that I guess prohibits folks from talking about sexual orientation and gender issues for kindergarten through third graders, for little kids.
You know how many times in this that the dumb people are calling the Don't Say Gay bill? It's never in there. It's never in there. Somebody on a TV station said, well, it's Don't Say Gay. And the dumb people said, oh, it's the Don't Say, we can't say gay. That is absolutely, positively, absolutely nothing.
It's not it. And DeSantis at the bill signing gave an example and said, hey, it's not about don't say gay, but here's one example of something that I don't think is appropriate for kindergartners through third graders. And I had never seen this in my life. So it's called a poster, where he said they use a poster of this drawing of a gingerbread person, like a gingerbread.
The
gingerbread person. And it's designed to help students learn about and distinguish between anatomical sex, gender expression, gender identity. So I Googled it. You have to Google it if you haven't seen it before. And it's got, it looks like a kid's graphic. It looks like a gingerbread person.
Show me, where did he
but
touch you?
And it's trying to tell you like that gender, Branden. But it's showing you like that you have gender in your brain, in your heart, and then it has like a sign over your genitalia. I don't know how you would use this to talk to a kindergartner or third grader. And again, you know, at least in my kids' schooling, I don't think they get the birds and the bees talk until 5th grade. So how you would start talking about whether you are a man or a woman or you like men and women before you understand basic anatomy.
Show me where the Santa man touched you, genderbread.
That is disturbing. It really is. Also disturbing, according to Mitch McConnell.
Where did Rudolph have his nose?
Stop it. But also disturbing, according to Mitch McConnell, he said, what was bloated liberal nonsense? Not surprisingly, the EPA. He's not on board with Biden's tax proposal, which really the budget is huge budget, but it's going to be funded by a tax on those who make $100 million or more.
Arps is here. Movement in St. Louis politics. Chris Rock, too. Will Smith, what's going on there? He's joining us 6:35.
Stop by Club Car Wash today to get an unlimited membership for just $20 a month. See more details at clubcarwash.com. It's 43 degrees.
Fox News, I'm Chris Foster. Will Smith publicly apologizes to Chris Rock for slapping him on stage at the Oscars. Fox's Jackie Ibanez with a statement on Instagram.
Jokes at my expense are a part of the job, but a joke about Jada's medical condition was too much for me to bear, and I reacted emotionally. I would like to publicly apologize to you, Chris.
Rock had joked about Jada Pinkett Smith's short hair. She says she keeps it that way due to hair loss from alopecia. The committee investigating the January 6th Capitol riot recommends contempt charges against Trump White House advisors Dan Scavino and Peter Navarro.
Committee Chairman Benny Thompson said Scavino and Navarro should come clean
about their roles in the attempt to overturn an election.
The full House will vote on the recommendation. Approval there will send the matter to the Justice Department.
Fox's Gernal Scott. Russia-Ukraine peace talks are happening today in Istanbul, Turkey, the first face-to-face talks in 2 weeks. America's listening to Fox News.
And now award-winning local news coverage with Brian Hauswirth on 93.9 The Eagle.
93.9 The Eagle News Time with Robinson's Cleaners. Robinson saves you time. 86:31, 43 right now. Cloudy In Columbia, it is 42 degrees. In Jefferson City, we're expecting a high today of around 69 degrees. Good morning, everyone. Here are some of the stories we are working on for you at this hour. A Jefferson City man faces a potential life prison sentence after being convicted of second-degree murder for a 2018 killing of a corrections officer in a robbery. A Cole County jury deliberating for 7 hours before convicting Juwan Worley of second-degree murder, 7 other felonies on Monday. The victim, 33-year-old Justin Camrich, who leaves behind a wife and 6 children. He was a corrections officer at the DOC. Missouri's 8 U.S. House district boundaries remain uncertain this morning after the House took no action. On Monday, a Senate congressional redistricting map approved last week. If the Missouri House doesn't approve a new map by 5 o'clock today, the 8 districts enacted after the 2010 census will remain in place, at least for this coming election. A trucker who's been indicted for involuntary manslaughter for the December crash that killed a Boone County Fire Assistant Chief pleads not guilty. 64-year-old Kevin Brunson making his initial court appearance on Monday. He tells Judge Jacobs he does not have an attorney at this time. A public defender will be appointed. In the next, Jefferson City School District Superintendent pledging to work diligently as superintendent to grow a district of champions. Brian McGraw is now the district's deputy superintendent. He tells 93.9 The Eagle he'll focus on recruitment and retention of teachers and also staff.
We want to create that positive culture in the district, make them want to work here, want their kids to go to school here.
Mr. McGraw will also focus on student academic, social, and extracurricular success. He'll succeed Dr. Linthicum, who retires in June. Our news brought to you live this morning by MidAmericaMortgage.us, and apply now for a loan on your dream home. 93.9 The Eagle News Time, 6:33. In sports, hopefully the weather will cooperate. Mizzou playing in the bragging rights rivalry game against Illinois. The town is called Sauget. It's actually right across the river from St. Louis, Sauget, Illinois. It's where the ballpark is, GCS Credit Union Ballpark. Gateway Grizzlies play there, and that is where the game tonight for Mizzou and Illinois will be played. Sauget, Illinois, bragging rights game, 6:05. The first pitch, Mizzou on the year 12-7. Catch all the action tonight with Tex Little, Matt Michaels, our sister station, KTGR FM 100.5. Also, a quick note, we'll have more on this at 7:03. Huge event planned for the next couple of days at Bass Pro in Springfield, and that will be to celebrate their 50th anniversary of Bass Pro in Springfield. Governor Parson, Johnny Morris, a lot of other dignitaries scheduled to be on hand for the event, at least the one tonight. They're trying to get NASCAR folks in, some country music stars scheduled to be there as well. They've actually moved this up because of the rain going to be coming in tomorrow. So the opening ceremony, 5 o'clock today. Sports brought to you by Betts Jewelers, downtown Columbia. Our news time, 6:34. Traffic check, MidmoHires.com. Local companies are looking for local people. MidmoHires.com. Find a job, post your job opening today. The roads are pretty quiet here in mid-Missouri. If you want to report a traffic issue, give us a call or a text, 573-874-9390. More team coverage in less than 30 minutes, and we have breaking news immediately. I'm Brian Hauswirth, 93.9 The Eagle.
Chris. Hi, I'm Becky Arps, and I am so excited that you get to experience a bit of the thoughts I hear every single day. Enjoy.
Chris. Applause yesterday. Albert Pujols makes his first time out on the field after the Cardinals announced, we'll give you a just because 1-year contract. Chris Arps, chrisarps.com. You hear him on St. Louis radio in the afternoons. Been with us for a long, long time. See him on Newsmax TV all the time. Your reaction to Albert Pujols coming back for a year?
Well, I want to say you're doing a disservice to the great Albert Pujols saying he's got a 1-year just because contract. Hey, he's going to be the DH, and they've talked about this on talk radio. I'm not acting like I'm a sports maven hero. But he did very well last year against left-handed pitching and pinch hitting. So I wouldn't count Albert out. I think he's got another year left. And you know, Branden, you're from St. Louis. You know how St. Louis sports fans are. People have come here and have revitalized their careers because the fans are just so great. So I'm really expecting a banner breakout year for Albert. I really am.
Albert Pujols
last year.
Yeah, last year when the Dodgers picked him up at the end of the season, he killed it, man. Like in limited at bats, 12 home runs, and St. Louis Cardinals going all the way back to the 1985, bringing in Cesar Cedeno from the St. Louis Reds to help the Cardinals race to that 1985 World Series against the Royals. Craig Biggio back in, I think it was 2006. He was a guy given up on by the Astros, came to the Cardinals.
Yeah.
Somebody lit a fire under his rear end, and the guy did awesome.
Remember that 85 season, Darryl Porter. Remember, he was all washed up, alcoholic, came to the Cardinals and was the freaking MVP of the World Series. Remember that?
Oh, yeah. So
I kind of do.
The Cardinals, no. The Cardinals have a history of doing that, and if nothing else, a love fest for Albert Pujols. I'm just kind of curious to see how it goes because, whenever he left, a lot of folks, we just think as Cardinal fans, you're going to be a Cardinal forever, and baseball business says to that kind of stuff anymore. There are very few instances. As a matter of fact, one of the very last few instances we are seeing of team loyalty in baseball is with the Cardinals, Yadier Molina. I mean, there's a few other out there, but it seldom happens anymore where you get a player who plays with somebody for the entirety of their career. It's happening now. Albert Pujols gets to come back. Think it sells a few more tickets?
Yeah, I think it'll definitely sell tickets. And I'm telling you this, Branden, you're a St. Louis, and so you know Busch Stadium. We have a bunch of smaller statues around the stadium, great ball players. But Stan Musial has the big 20-foot-tall statue in front of the stadium. That's where everybody meets. When you go down to Busch Stadium, meet me at the Stan Musial statue. Mm-hmm. If Albert would have stayed in St. Louis, he would have had a statue that would have rivaled Stan's. I really do.
And
that's
I think
how big his stature would have been.
The other thing that's exciting, he does have the potential to clobber his 700th career home run as a St. Louis Cardinal. There's only, 1, 2, 3 people in history have hit 700 home runs.
4 or 5.
Yeah. He could be on that list, and he will have done it as a Cardinal. So that could be exciting, maybe sell some seats. And I'm almost wondering...
And without steroids. Don't forget that.
And without the steroids. Did it steroid-free. And he's, Missouri connected. He played ball outside of Kansas City. There were every year, since we are a Cardinal affiliate, every year until COVID a couple of years ago, we do these Cardinal caravans. What we do is we bring in a couple rookies and then a couple people like... a Tommy Pham and a Harrison Bader, and you'd bring in people like, from over the years, Danny Cox, Joe McGrain.
Went back there.
Yeah, one year in Moberly on the Cardinal Caravan, stopped in Columbia. They went up into Moberly, and there was kind of, at the time, comparatively, this skinny little shy kid by the name of Albert that people went and talked to. A few people even, because nobody knew who he was. He was a rookie in the Cardinal system, and I hope that these people here in mid-Missouri still have some of that stuff because it is going to be worth something someday.
Can I ask you one Pujols question?
Yes.
There's been a lot of speculation over his career on what his true age is. The people are saying that his birth certificate was kind of fudged a little bit from the Dominican. How do you think he is really as old as he is?
So typically is what happens when they're trying to get ball players from the Dominican Republic to come up and play in America. They instead of being, they might be 12 years old, but they have to be 14, so they bump their age up a couple of years. Mm-hmm. Oh, I can't find, it's hard to, I come from a third world country, it's hard to get a birth certificate. His age, I don't know. If it's not his true age, isn't that more beneficial to us?
That's true. I mean, he just had an incredible career. He's one of the greatest baseball players of all time. Just the magic that he did here in St. Louis was just incredible.
And the fans at the games, how exciting it was for us during his time here. We were in 3 World Series, 04, 06, 011, and we won 2 of those. So what he did for the Cardinals in the World Series, the kids loved him, fan favorite. So hopefully creating a little bit of excitement at the ballpark this year. But right now with Chris Arps, we're creating some excitement in Jefferson City. My goodness. So now in the House, we're still waiting on approval of the map. Sarah Walsh, who right now, she is my personal local state rep running for this 4th congressional district. Last week, 4th congressional district rerouted, and it looks like, I think Stephanie and I can agree, she's the one in her race hurt the most because it carved out large sections of areas that she currently reps.
I think her whole district is carved out.
So, wow. So now she is in the House, and guess what? She has some say-so on how that map moves forward. And guess what? We are just hours, 10 hours away from the filing deadline. Something's going to happen today. So we rejoiced, and I paid attention to Stephanie's words. Stephanie said, well, it's out of the Senate. It still has to go to the House. Any thoughts on what might happen in the House with his map?
Well, I was reading this morning that there are still some concerns about the map, but I think they're going to see that, today is the deadline and these candidates need to know what districts that they're filing in. I think we're going to come up with a last-minute solution. I really do. I don't think this is going to have to go to the courts and all of that nonsense. I think we'll get it done.
All right, Chris Arps joining us here on Wake Up Columbia 93.9 The Eagle. I'm Branden Rathert, joined by Stephanie Bell, Brian Hauswirth, and Hannah, the producer. Interesting, Stephanie was gone for a week. She brought back some poll numbers that showed pretty much what people had been saying. In the Republican primary for U.S. Senate 2022, Eric Greitens would typically lead. He goes to the general, and basically he would lose, no matter who the Democratic candidate is. But now I'm wondering, so we've got Trudy Bush Valentine joining this race on the U.S. Senate side. How much does this impact everything? And I'm going off of name recognition, and I'm guessing they got a little bit of money.
Just a little bit.
A little bit.
Here, you look. Trudy Bush Valentine getting into this race terrifies me, especially if Eric Greitens is our nominee. One, she's a woman. Two, she can self-fund, and if her advisors can paint her as moderate Claire McCaskill 2.0, she can win.
Okay. So, but she does scare you. You think there's something there?
Oh,
People
yeah.
Well, as a matter of fact, Scott Sifton.
Look how Claire McCaskill won 2 terms claiming she's this moderate, middle-of-the-road senator. When you looked at her record, she wasn't. I think if she can sell herself in that Claire McCaskill mold as a moderate and not some far left winger, I think she could win.
So
easily.
What about, you kind of talked about how she would do against Greitens. I think she definitely, among independents could hurt Hartzler because Hartzler kind of had she was the only woman in the race thing going. So who do you think, adding her to the mix, do you think, which candidate do you think she hurts the most?
I think, like you said, I think she definitely hurts Vicky Hartzler because she's another female in the race. Just with Greitens and Eric Schmidt and all of them from St. Louis, and she being from St. Louis, that may hurt her some with the outstate voters. But the fact that she can self-fund and she's a woman, and as I said, if they can paint her as moderate and not some far lefty, she's got a real shot.
So new polling coming out. This was after the latest allegations leveled against our former governor and former Democrat, Eric Greitens. Some polling from the Missouri Scout, and it's changing things up a little bit for what polls are worth. You want to jump into those here in the next few minutes?
Let's do it.
All right. And also, I want to get your insight because you turned us on to this fellow by the name of Andrew Jones. Andrew Jones, black conservative, running against Cori Bush. Cori Bush now has another Democrat, so she's going to be primaried. And what we're hearing from some of the folks in St. Louis, it's very consistent what they're saying about Cori. I want to get your thoughts on that when we come back with Chris Arps here on 93.9 The Eagle and 93.9theeagle.com.
Chris.
Wake Up Columbia with Branden Rathert. Mid-Missouri is listening.
I'm out here. Richard. Wow.
Man, Will Smith, popping. Chris Rock. First of all, I'll tell you the majority of our time on this event yesterday. By the way, Will Smith apologizing for girl slapping Chris Rock at the Oscars the other night. First of all, what kind of man slaps another dude? Second of all, this just looks bad, and I think in so many ways. I still would not be surprised. We come to find out that it was a setup. Hey, ratings are really low. We got to do something to get people talking. The hit looks real. What's your take on all this, Chris?
Hey, do you remember the TV show House of Cards with Kevin Spacey?
Yes.
One of my favorite lines from that show was, "Never slap a man while he's chewing tobacco." So men do slap men. Look, I know how I feel about my wife, and if someone would have been making jokes about her and would have hurt her the way that Chris Rock probably hurt Jada talking about her health condition, I probably would have done the same thing, Branden. I've taken a lot of flack on my Facebook page. I supported Will Smith for what he did. It's had 100 and something comments, 250 likes or whatever, and it's kind of split down the middle. People agreeing with me that aren't agreeing with me, don't agree with me. Maybe Will should have done that backstage, but hey, I view this as toxic masculinity. I'm glad to see a man stand up for his wife and be chivalrous, and I applaud him for it. I really do. Maybe a lot of people are disappointed in me and have sent me messages regarding that, but I can't apologize for a man standing up for his wife.
Have you ever had to be in that situation?
I hope not, no.
You've never been in that situation?
No.
That is
I think they know I have you as a friend. I just bring you along, so
well,
don't mess with me.
It's an interesting situation to be in. But what I wonder, and maybe I start to go too far
and
out.
That wasn't a girl slap. That was a pimp slap. Just tell you what it is.
Pimp slap. He bitch slapped him, man. I mean, well, I've just never seen a dude like slapping a dude. That is so. And our audience had me on this yesterday. To slap a dude, that's worse than being punched. Because then you do look like a girl. It's crazy. Chris, if you and I ever got into a heated discussion, I would never slap you. I would punch you. Not very hard, but I would punch you.
No, to me, the way I view that, that's an insult for somebody to come up to you and slap you.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Whether it's a woman or a man, it's an insult. And, yeah, he could have punched him, but then it would have made it even worse affair. I think he did it the classiest way they can do it. He calmly walked up on stage, pimp slapped him, turned around, calmly walked back to his chair, and basically said, "Now keep talking crap." I loved it. I'm sorry. I know some of the audience probably was like, "Oh God, I'm so disappointed in Chris Arps. I thought he was this way or whatever." I loved it.
Here's the thing that got me
woman,
because
man.
I thought the joke was great. Now, I didn't know that Jada Pinkett Smith had alopecia. I didn't know, and I think the majority of people we poll here on the show didn't know that either. That was a funny joke. It was a good. It was a reference to another movie from years ago, so it was a good cultural reference. It was a good joke. It was the Oscars, but then there's context. She has health issues with it.
But it's not just that, Branden. People are missing the context of it. It wasn't just that one joke. He said a series of jokes about her. This isn't the first time that he has went off on her, and he said a joke earlier about her in the show that can be construed as basically saying, "Will, your wife's a bald-headed hoe." He was comparing, talking about Brianna. I don't want to say the joke that he said, but you could construe it as him saying, talking about Jada and baldness and her promiscuity. And then he came up with this G.I. Jane joke, and I think that was just too much for him.
Well, and that's because they have I think the very public, they have an open marriage, right?
I guess you call it that.
They allow each other to sleep with other people. So, Will Smith, I'll let you bang my wife, but I ain't going to let you make jokes about her. I just find that all weird.
Yeah. I think it was just I think it was he saw the reaction on his wife's face, and a lot of people take that look as him looking at her, looking at him and saying, "Hey, are you going to, do something about this?" I think she looked at him and had probably a look of complete pain in her face, and he had seen that before, and it was just too much for him. I mean, I can tell you, I love my wife more than anything, and when I see her disappointed or sad or anything, it absolutely kills me. It really does. I cannot stand to see Becky sad or unhappy. So someone talking about his wife like that and seeing her face sad, I can see him losing his emotion.
One time I really tried backing my wife, different circumstances, first wife, honeymoon night. We're checking in before we get out of Dodge, and they put us in the wrong room, and so we're having to walk across the parking lot. She's in her wedding dress. She was a stunningly beautiful woman. Her makeup is everywhere. Her hair is falling down, and I'm dragging her through the lobby, and I'm at the hotel, and I'm like, look at this poor woman. She looks horrible. I didn't say it right, but my intent was good. Chris, we got to go. When do we see you on Newsmax next?
Thursday. 5:36 and 7.
5:36 and 7. Chris Arps, chrisarps.com. By the way, got to listen to your show Friday in St. Louis. I was listening to my formerly favorite show, but he's on AM. I can't digest AM radio. Was listening to another show. They had a panel, 4 people talking at once. Couldn't understand anything. It was really poor. I tuned into you, and it was awesome.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Between me and NPR, huh?
Good morning. I am Branden Rathert for Salter Lawn Service. Salter, one call does it all. One call that some people are making to Salter Lawn Service are like, hey, I enjoy doing my own yard work. I enjoy doing the trimming. I enjoy getting out that chainsaw and cutting down some branches and trimming it up and looking real nice. But I don't like maintaining my chainsaw. I don't like taking the blades off my lawnmower and getting them sharpened. I don't like changing the oil. I don't want to do the spark plug. I don't want to do any of that. I want to do the yard work, but I don't want to do that other stuff. And that's one of the reasons you call Salter. Salter Lawn Service. Salter, one call does it all. You call Salter. Like, you get on the phone with them this morning, say, hey, I heard Branden Rathert from 93.9 The Eagle was saying, y'all come pick up my stuff, take it to your shop, maintain it, and then bring it back, and I give you a little bit of money. That's exactly how it works. So call Salter. Salter, one call does it all.
Trying again to stop the warring by talking. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. For the first time in 2 weeks, there are Russian-Ukrainian negotiations.
Why can the world not stop this flow of military crimes committed by Russia?
Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky talking to the Danish parliament on day 34 of the invasion.
There was intense shelling in Kyiv, just by the capital. There was also shelling in Kharkiv. Families and teachers combing through what was once a school, but blasted by a missile. Mariupol is now mainly in the hands of Russia, according to the mayor, who has called for a complete evacuation, saying that 5,000 people have died and roughly 160,000 people there are currently trapped.
Fox's Alex Hogan in Lviv. An accident investigation team has a lot of work to do in Pennsylvania. The day after cars and trucks collided in snow-blind conditions, leaving at least 3 people dead. Fox's Evan Brown has a live update.
Yeah, Dave, at least 24 others are injured and hospitalized following a chain reaction crash Monday on Interstate 81 in Schuylkill County, Pennsylvania, blamed on whiteout conditions caused by snow squalls. This man had pulled over and was recording video when it got worse.
It's snow and fog mixed together, and it made the visibility down to zero. And watch out, watch out. Oh, God, my car is gone.
Now, I-81 remains closed for now, Dave.
Evan, the House committee investigating last year's Capitol riot has voted to recommend the full House hold 2 ex-Trump administration officials in contempt of Congress for not cooperating. Will Smith is telling Chris Rock he's sorry on Instagram for slapping the comedian on stage at the Oscars. The Academy has also put out a statement.
The Academy condemns the actions of Mr. Smith at last night's show. We have officially started a formal review around the incident and will explore further action and consequences.
Fox's Jackie Ibanez. America's listening to Fox News.
Economists are warning that sanctions against Russia could cause unintended damage in America, triggering devastating inflation. As gas prices skyrocket, prices for everything could surge even higher, making the current 40-year record inflation look mild. Hi, this is Stephen K. Bannon, and I urge you to take immediate action to protect your savings by opening a physical gold IRA with my friends at Birch Gold. I'm a Birch Gold customer myself, and they have my highest recommendation. Just text the word PROTECT to 989898, and they'll send you a free info kit on how to get started. In my opinion, gold IRAs are one of the best ways to protect your savings no matter what happens in America or around the world. And the best company to work with is Birch Gold. So text the word PROTECT to 989898 to get everything you need to know about protecting your savings with gold.
93.9 The Eagle News Time with Robinson's Cleaners. Robinson saves you time. It is 7:03. Right now we do have clear skies. It's 43 degrees in Columbia, 42 in Jefferson City. Our sunrise just a few minutes ago at 6:59. Beautiful morning right now. Our humidity is at 46%. The sun will set at 7:30 tonight, and heavy rain on the way for tomorrow. More on that with Kevin in a moment. Good morning, everyone. Here's some of the stories that we are working on for you at this hour. Anheuser-Busch beer heiress Trudy Busch Valentine is running for the U.S. Senate as a Democrat. The daughter of the late chairman of the Anheuser-Busch Company is officially filing her candidacy for retiring Republican U.S. Senator Roy Blunt's seat on Monday. The other big development in that race is Scott Sifton, the former state senator from Afton, has dropped out of the Senate race. He is endorsing Ms. Busch Valentine. Branden and Stephanie will have more on this throughout the morning right here on Wake Up Columbia. Meantime, the clock is ticking for the Missouri legislature to approve a final congressional redistricting map. The Senate, you'll recall, approved a new map on Thursday, but it's different than the one approved by the House back in January. East Central Missouri Congressman Blaine Luetkemeyer hopes the House doesn't make any changes to it.
My greatest fear is that they start tinkering around with it in a way that the Senate then wouldn't pass it down the road a second time, and then you wind up going to the courts.
Now, the Senate map moves Boone, Cooper, and Montauk counties from the 4th District to Lutkemeyer's 3rd. If the new map is not approved by 5 o'clock today, the congressional districts enacted after the 2010 census would remain in place, at least for this election. Not guilty, that is the plea from a Kansas City area trucker who is charged with involuntary manslaughter for the December I-70 crash that killed a Boone County Fire Assistant Chief back in December. 64-year-old Kevin Brunson appeared in court Monday for his initial arraignment. He appeared before Boone County Circuit Judge Brooke Jacobs, and he tells the court he has not applied yet for a public defender. The judge read the charge in court to Brunson. He notes an involuntary manslaughter conviction has a sentence of between 3 and 10 years in state prison. Missouri State Troopers say an ambulance and the Boone County Fire District Assistant Chief Bryant Gladney's vehicles had their emergency lights activated on December 22nd. That's when they were struck by Brunson's tractor trailer, according to the charges. The patrol's crash report says the truck driver failed to slow. Now, this was a video arraignment. I was in court yesterday, so I could not see the defendant. However, it appeared that there were technical problems, but what we learned happened is the defendant, the truck driver, Kevin Brunson, fell asleep during his arraignment in court. They had to wake him up, and once he did wake up, he pleaded not guilty, and they told him that they will appoint a public defender. Prosecutors are requesting a a life prison sentence for a Jefferson City man convicted of killing an off-duty corrections officer during a robbery. ABC 17's Erica McGuire reports Jefferson City police are seeing larger guns in crimes.
The prosecution called JCPD Detective Jason Ambler. Ambler says that Jefferson City's rising crime rate has caused greater turnover within the department. Ambler testified that law enforcement sees more crimes using larger extended magazines in guns compared to 10 years ago.
ABC 17's Eric McGuire with that report. A Cole County jury has convicted Jawan Worley of second-degree murder for the 2018 robbery and killing of 33-year-old Justin Cameron, who had 6 children. There was another victim shot 3 times. And Columbia Regional Airport will plan an April the 12th event. It will give you a behind-the-scenes tour of a $23 million new terminal that's under construction. That guided tour will take place that day, 3:30, April the 12th. If you have any questions about the tour or if you need special accommodations, you can call the airport manager's office, Mike Parks, 573-817-5064. 93.9 The Eagle News is brought to you this hour by The Candy Factory in downtown Columbia. You can find them online, thecandyfactoryonline.com. 93.9 The Eagle News time, 7:07. In sports, Missouri's governor will be joining Bass Pro's Johnny Morris and some country music stars tonight in Springfield. Opening ceremony for the Bass Pro Shop's World's Fishing Fair. It will celebrate the 50th anniversary of Bass Pro Shops in Springfield. Bass Pro describing the event as a one-of-the-kind showcase of fishing, boating, conservation, and the great outdoors. It all started Springfield Mo. NASCAR representatives also scheduled to be at the event. It'll start tonight at 5 o'clock. I talked to Kelly Jones yesterday. This is actually from the governor's office. This event has been moved up because of the rain coming into the forecast, not just for us, but also Springfield late tonight into tomorrow. That's why they moved it up to 5 o'clock. Mizzou baseball team heading to Sauget, Illinois. They will play Illinois, the Bragging Rights rivalry game, 6:05 tonight. You'll catch it on KTGR FM 100.5. Sauget is right across the river from St. Louis, not terribly far across the river from the Arch. It's where the Gateway Grizzlies play. Tex and Matt will have the call for you coming up tonight. Sports is brought to you this hour by Club Car Wash, clubcarwash.com. Our news time, 7:08. All right, Kevin, thanks so much. We appreciate it. Right now, clear skies, 42. 7:09, our traffic check with MidmoHires.com. Local companies looking for local people. It's 93.9 The Eagle, 93.9theeagle.com. Roads right now are pretty quiet here in mid-Missouri. Hopefully that will continue. If we're missing something, let us know. 573-874-9390. You can call or text that number. More team coverage in less than 30 minutes, and we have breaking news immediately. I'm Brian Hauswirth, 93.9 The Eagle.
Teachers in their first year coming in, they're with us for 1 year and then deciding that they don't want to teach ever again. We've watched teacher salaries, not just starting teacher salaries, but average teacher salaries in the states surrounding us go up to the point where we're in a battle for last place with Montana.
ABC 17 talking to Todd Fuller, Missouri Teachers Association, talking about teachers' salary. Remember, just a couple of months ago, State of the State address, Governor Mike Parson talked about teacher salaries, saying we've got to do something about it.
That's why we are proposing to raise teacher pay in every corner of this state.
And now it's as we try to make that a reality again, may have been a good idea, but having a hard time making it happen. By the way, differing numbers at Todd Fuller from the Missouri Teachers Association. He's giving one number. There's sources from business.org says, yeah, our pay is towards the bottom, but maybe not quite as bad as that. And listen, I applaud teachers Really do. Anybody who wants to spend their life helping little brats get educated. Because I think about the teachers I had over the years and the teachers that had to deal with me over the years. And I do think it's a great profession because I think it says a lot about a human being. You just don't go spin, well, yeah, I want to be a teacher. I want to be a teacher because I want to help shape lives and stuff. But what we have seen happening even prior to 2 years ago with people saying, hey, we're starting to pay attention to what's happening in schools and we don't think we like it. And then these teachers unions get involved and try to tell parents to get out. We had a failed gubernatorial candidate in Virginia last year saying it's none of parents' businesses. It's not their business what happens in school. And we're seeing what's happening now. Look what Ron DeSantis did in Florida. He created legislation, and it has been signed into law that says, listen, there's some things like, kindergartners, first graders, kids like that. We don't talk about gender and stuff like that. And, of course, the national news outlets, they hijack, it's the Don't Say Gay bill. I had this conversation with somebody in the building last week who also lived in Florida like I did. Talking about, hey, would you ever go back? No, not with that Don't Say Gay bill. And I'm like, that's never in the bill. Do you know what the bill's about? Yeah, you can't talk about being gay and stuff. No. And then I asked, where'd you get your information? Well, it was on MSNBC. Oh, of course. That's the problem. Nowhere in there does it say don't say gay. It doesn't say that is what it does do. It says, listen, kindergartners and first graders, we're not going to talk about gender identity and who you might like. Hell, I'm 51. I'm still not quite sure who I might like, much less a third grade. I know who I like. I have questions.
Yeah, there's other people out in the world that have questions about who you like, too.
Well, can I tell this, Stephanie?
I guess. I don't know.
I mean, is it worth talking about?
You can. I don't know.
So it occurs to me, I hang out with several women, and I consider all of them very dear friends. But I am not dating any of them. And it got me to, I hang out with all these women, I don't date them, am I? I'm just wondering. And I think the world of all of them. But I'm.
But you're also in a different place in your life. In a lot of ways.
I've just been
that could make the dating experience different.
Comically wondering, I hang out with all these women, but I don't get intimate with them, and I'm not dating. What does that? I'm not the guy all these women are calling. Oh, let's call Branden for lunch. I don't want to be that guy. Anyhow, where was I?
You had mentioned the governor about teacher pay.
Teacher pay.
Yeah.
Brian, you're not supposed to bail him out. You're not supposed to bail him out that quickly. Come on.
But this issue has come up before, and we're talking about raising minimum salaries.
Yeah.
But again, like Columbia and Jeff City, and luckily Southern Boone is doing better, but we're not doing very well on test scores. So let's talk about how we can pay good teachers more, not just give everyone who decides to sign up some higher salary.
But the governor's argument there, Stephanie, and he has support from the Democrats and Republicans, I still think this bill has a chance. Cody Smith is tweaking it. Branden, when he was broadcasting the State of the State address, hit it on the head. I mean, the starting pay for teachers is $25,000 right now. He called
No one around here pays that. They don't.
They do in the rural areas, though. Some of them do. They absolutely do. But to your point, Columbia starts at 40, and Dr. Yearwood announced that the other day. Governor wants to raise that to $38,000. Right now, Missouri, Stephanie, is 50th in the nation in average starting teacher pay, according to DESE, $32,970. And I asked the governor, I said, what if they did raise it to $38,000? He said, even if they, this is when he came here probably a month ago, he said, even if they did that, we'd still be 30th in the United States.
According to DESE, which is Brian's comment earlier, he said something, according to Eric Greitens' campaign manager. Branden, you said that there are studies out there that say we're not 50th, and I agree. I mean, my sister's a teacher. I think teachers should be paid well. I love my teachers. But at the same time, there are other professions out there who also should be paid more than they're currently being paid. I mean, daycare providers, for instance, preschool teachers. I mean, there's a lot of people out there, our frontline, people who work in like in I think about all the people during the pandemic, not only healthcare services, but people who showed up every day at grocery stores to stock shelves. I mean, there are a lot of people out there. I think, I think if you talk about any profession, we can say, they should get paid more. I don't know. This debate rages on, and the teachers' lobby is really strong.
And it is DESE, but the DESE is the one saying it. I'm citing them, but the governor also is using these numbers, and the governor obviously, the governor is citing it. I don't know if that. I mean, it's going to be late. He's going to have an uphill battle right now because they're running out of time. Maybe they'll have to meet in the middle. But again,
so where are we on test scores? So we pay our teachers 50th or whatever. Are we 50th in test scores? I don't know that. It would be an interesting question to ask.
It'd be an even more interesting question to have the answer to.
Sure.
I'm sure we do. But I mean, it's frustrating because I think there are real proposals out there in the legislature this year to kind of address not only teacher pay, but to address, parents' concerns and students' concerns about how we actually educate our folks.
Sure.
So school choice, some of these other issues, charter schools, and we keep putting the kibosh on that, but then we keep asking for more money. And, I think there are real practical solutions that we could implement that the teachers' unions lobby against to protect their own, and then they ask for more money. Why can't we have open enrollment? Why can't we have school choice?
Why can't we just do whatever the hell we want to do? It's America, after all, right? The other interesting thing as it relates to schools, the Como Citizen Concerned Parents for Kids in the Columbia Public School District, they've drawn kind of a timeline. Said whenever Columbia Public Schools hired these certain teachers unions several years ago, they are correlating that with a drop in test scores. Over the years. They're saying, listen, this is when we brought in this teachers union. Here's what's happening. Other problems. And by the way, Hauswirth and I were at this presentation that Dr. Brian Yearwood gave this past Friday in front of the Columbia Pachyderms. Gave a very good presentation. He talked, told some of his story, some of what his goals were, how he has gotten to some of these goals, his actions that he has taken. There were there was a parent and then an attorney that kind of took exception, I think.
Oh, very much so. Yeah. Particularly the attorney very much. And I still don't know who that is.
So the bigger issue is now, as a matter of fact, and this is something we've been talking about before, and now the Columbia Daily Tribune is on it. They're talking about failure in communications. This one teacher at a school saying she couldn't, and this is what I hear from parents, and it's bearing itself out now. Poor communication from administration. I personally have had poor communication from administration. Somebody from administration tried calling me out on it one day, and within 10 minutes, I'm like, nope, see, you're wrong. You're wrong. Here's the examples. Here are the examples. And we've had other people in the communications business that look at when they do communicate. We've had people who make way more money than me in communications going, yeah, they're just trying to twist people in circles, and that's not right. Well, now we've got a teacher who showed up at a Columbia Public School Board meeting because she can't get into her administration to make them hear. So you can't deny that communications from the administration, whether you hear it from the media, from the parents. You want to communicate poorly with me and be crappy with me, you go right ahead, but don't you dare do it to a parent. And when people have parents, you will understand. You get very passionate about your kids, and then you grow up, you get passionate about your wife. You go bitch slap another man when he makes a joke about her. They get passionate about this.
Well, and I heard, my sister is a teacher, and I had heard some of this. I mean, it's frustrating when you feel like your teachers who really are on the front lines aren't being supported by the administration, and I think that was brought up by some of the school district candidates. It's frustrating that they have to show up to this public meeting to feel like they need to be heard. And I mean, talk about an area where, there might be some extra money where you could bump up some teacher salaries. I do feel like a lot of school districts are top heavy. And a lot of money, and their administrators get paid quite well. There are a lot of administrators, and so knowing how much money they spend and how many, how many people they have at the top, that this teacher felt like she was unsupported and couldn't be heard is especially frustrating.
And everybody, I agree, everybody should have more pay. You should have more pay, Brian. Hannah, you should have more pay.
Branden especially thinks he should have more pay.
No, I'm embarrassingly good, actually. I'm almost like, Hey, are you sure you don't want some of this back at the end of the
Whatever. Whatever.
I'll give some of this money back to you.
Don't even lie to yourself.
I'm not lying to myself. I'll give some of this back because this is just, I'm not sure about this. Stephanie says via text, preach it, Steph. I'm a preschool director. Tough job, low pay.
Yes. Yeah. My kids have gone to the same preschool since my first was born, so we've been at that preschool for 10 years. My last one, I'm going to get emotional just talking about it. My last one's going to graduate this year, and I will cry when they leave.
That's awesome.
Aw, Steph.
I think the public schools need to start being audited every couple of years to actually see where all the money is going, whether or not it's being spent wisely, conservatively. I think a lot of money is being blown by the higher paid administrators. So one of the things is woman, when she showed up at the meeting, she has said, and I've said it too, and I hate to say it because it sounds like it's penalizing kids, but I think a big message needs to be sent right now, not approving the bond issue. And that's what this teacher said. And you can imagine her co-union members going, oh, you're supposed to vote on the bond thing. And she said, I am, as a teacher, absolutely not doing it. That's how disheartened she is.
I think the biggest thing, and not familiar with her particular story, the biggest thing that I think the takeaway from, and there were a lot of them from Dr. Yearwood's presentation the other day, is that there were a lot of people in the room at this Pachyderm meeting that had questions about access to the classroom, not necessarily with him, but because he was saying, he mentioned FERPA. That was this whole thing. You can't just sit in, a parent can't just sit in there all day. But parents do have some questions about getting in. But they are going to try to have him back to answer more of those questions at another date and another meeting.
All right, I want to move forward to What's Hot with Hannah. Plus, Tom has some thoughts on teachers' pay. Off the text, Branden, make an offensive joke about Stephanie. I want to watch Mr. Bell come in the studio and bitch slap you live on YouTube. Coming up, what's hot with Hannah today?
Today is National Mom and Pop Business Owners Day. So I thought we could highlight some of our favorite locally owned businesses.
Locally owned businesses we'll highlight, and Tom has some thoughts on teachers' pay. It's coming up for you at 7:25-ish on 93.9 The Eagle.
Wake Up Columbia on 93.9 The Eagle. The world is watching on Facebook Live. Are you?
That's why we are proposing to raise teacher pay in every corner of this state.
Governor Parsons, state of the state. That was the goal. Right now, not happening. 874-9390, teacher pay. Tom, welcome into the show. What's up?
Good morning, sir. Hey, about 10 years ago or so, the Columbia Public Schools decided to negotiate solely with the NEA.
Yep.
They pushed out another union, and they pushed out a non-union group here in Missouri called MSTA. So, that was the school's choice on that, school board, admin, I'm not sure which.
And the MSTA is the Missouri State Teachers Association.
Yep. And 50th in teachers' pay. Well, where do we rank on cost of living compared to some of those other ones? Because we may be 50th in teachers' pay, but if you factor in cost of living, because I've lived all over this country, and here in Missouri is a really pretty inexpensive place to live in mid-Missouri. So, that may change that whole ranking overall. If it costs you twice as much to live in.
Yep. Tom, thank you. I got to move forward because coming up, here's what we're doing. What's Hot with Hannah today is so good, we're going to move it to its own full segment.
Nice. Nicely played.
At 7:35 because it's a good one this morning. That's coming up at 7:35.
Stop by Club Car Wash today to get an unlimited membership for just $20 a month. See more details at clubcarwash.com and to find the nearest location near you.
Fox News, I'm Chris Foster. The first in-person peace talks in 2 weeks between Russia and Ukraine are happening in Istanbul, Turkey today. Ukraine's President Vladimir Zelensky says in his nightly address, translated here.
The occupiers are being pushed away from Irpin, pushed away from Kyiv. However, it is too early to talk about a secure situation.
He says Russian troops are regrouping to take territory back. Queen Elizabeth's first public appearance in 5 months. Today's memorial service for her husband, Philip, at Westminster Abbey in London.
Prince Philip married then Princess Elizabeth there in 1947, prior to her becoming queen in 1952. Her coronation was held there the following year. Prince Philip passed away in April last year at age 99, with only a handful of mourners at his funeral due to COVID-19 restrictions.
Fox's Tanya J. Powers. About 1,800 invited family members and guests attended the memorial today. America's listening to Fox News.
And now award-winning local news coverage with Brian Hauswirth on 93.9 The Eagle.
93.9 The Eagle News Time with Robinson's Cleaners. Robinson saves you time. It is 7:31. We do have clear skies right now, sunshine. Our temperature is 43 degrees. Our high today, much warmer. It's going to be 69. Cloudy tonight with rain likely and a low near 57 degrees. Heavy rain coming into the forecast for tomorrow. Good morning, everyone, and here are some of the stories we are working on for you on this Tuesday morning. A Jefferson City man faces a potential life prison sentence after being convicted of second-degree murder for a 2018 killing. A Cole County jury deliberating for 7 hours before convicting Juwan Worley of second-degree murder and 7 other felonies on Monday. The victim who was killed, 33-year-old Justin Camerich. He was a corrections officer at the DOC. He leaves behind a wife and 6 children. Missouri's 8 U.S. House district boundaries remain uncertain this morning after the House took no action Monday in Jefferson City on a Senate congressional redistricting map approved last week. St. Elizabeth GOP Congressman Blaine Luetkemeyer tells Wake Up Columbia the issue is now out of his hands. If the House doesn't approve a map by 5 today, the 8 congressional districts enacted after the 2010 census will remain in place at least for this election. A trucker under indictment for involuntary manslaughter for the December crash that killed a Boone County Fire Assistant Chief pleads not guilty in court. He is 64-year-old Kevin Brunson. Initial court appearance Monday via video. A public defender will be appointed for him. And you'll have an opportunity next month to take a guided tour of a $23 million terminal being built at COU.
Columbia Regional Airport officials plan guided tours on April 12th at 3:30 p.m. You'll be able to walk through the construction site and see progress that's been made. The new terminal, which is set to open this summer, will be 52,000 square feet compared to the current 16,000 square foot facility. Don Luzader, 93.9 The Eagle.
Don, thanks so much. News is brought to you this hour by Willett Dental Associates. WillettDentalAssociates.com. Our news time, 7:33. $7:33 here on 93.9 The Eagle and 93.9theeagle.com. The Missouri baseball team heading on the road today, not too far, Sauget, Illinois, just across the river from St. Louis, Illinois, the opponent, bragging rights rivalry game. The reason they're playing it in Sauget is that is the ballpark, GCS Credit Union Ballpark, where the Gateway Grizzlies play. And the first pitch is set for tonight, 6:05 at the ballpark. Mizzou on the year 12-7. Catch all the action tonight. Tex Little and Matt Michaels. KTGR FM 100.5, our Zimmer station. They'll be on the air a little bit before 6 o'clock with the pregame coverage. Our sports is brought to you this hour by Atterbury Auction and Realty Company, Mid-Missouri's most trusted online and live auction company specializing in real estate and personal property auctions. Visit AtterburySells.com. Our news time, 7:34. And our traffic check is with MidmoHires.com. Local companies are looking for local people. MidmoHires.com. Find a job. Post your job opening today. Roads right now pretty quiet here in mid-Missouri. If you want to report a traffic issue, give us a call or a text at 573-874-9390. More team coverage in less than 30 minutes, and we have breaking news immediately. I'm Brian Hauswirth, 93.9 The Eagle.
Damn, this is crazy, man.
Like 187 car pileup, Pennsylvania.
It's too dangerous.
This guy's filming the whole time.
Too fire. Oh, look at that! I need to go up the road! Damn! This is crazy! My car! No!
Does it sound like he's having a good time? He's filming the destruction of his car, the destruction of all these other cars on an interstate. Does it sound like
he's in an unsafe position?
Right.
Yeah.
He sounds like he's got too much adrenaline.
Look at that fire! Oh my God! Damn, this is crazy, man! What am I going to do about the Charger? My Charger!
It's gone. It's gone.
And he wasn't talking phone charger. It was his Dodge Charger. Just kept going. But he's following. At one point, do you put the phone down and, hey, maybe I can try to affect change instead of catching all of this on film? That was in Pennsylvania. Massive car pileup. They had snow combined with fog, like zero visibility.
And I believe
In
there were
his
some fatalities there, too.
In his defense, what change is he going to be able to help affect in a 187 car pileup? What good can he do?
I would run and jump into that car and grab my stuff. I got to get my stuff.
No way, man.
That'd be like running into a burning building to get your stuff. Like, that's not smart.
What if your kids? You wouldn't run in there to get your kid?
What?
You said stuff.
I said stuff.
Kids are stuff.
No.
No.
It's Wake Up Columbia. My name is Branden Rathert. To my left is Stephanie Bell.
Good morning.
There's Mr. Brian Hauswirth.
Good morning, sir.
There's Hannah, the producer.
What up?
And so I'm not running late this morning. We did want to push this back a little bit because we thought it was more worthy than 2.5 minutes. We do What's Hot with Hannah every morning, 7:25-ish, but we wanted to move it around this morning because I thought kind of a neat thing. What do you got for us?
Today is National Mom and Pop Business Owners Day. And I thought today would be a perfect opportunity to highlight some of our favorite, like, small, locally owned businesses, not only in Columbia, but in our surrounding areas. Some of my favorites are, I know Salter Lawn Service is a good friend of Wake Up Columbia. I love Nothing Bundt Cakes here in town, and Tiger Nutrition, and then back in Centralia, Sticky Pig Barbecue.
I love the bundt cake, especially the really big
They're
bunts.
so cute. Oh,
well, you
no.
get the big bunt ones, and I like those better than the cute little ones. I mean, all bunts.
We're talking different cakes, dude.
All bunts are good, but I like the bigger ones. It's got some more oomph to it. And the little ones, those are fun too. But the big bunted cakes, like those. You can contribute to 874-9390. Actually, you could kind of contribute in a couple of different ways. You want to let us know your favorite mom and pop, because, we have a fondness for small local businesses, small mom and pop businesses. That is the backbone that drives the economy in Missouri. It's not, hey, the big factories come in and they employ several hundred people. Those are great. We appreciate those too. But these mom and pop businesses, people that have the gumption, man, anybody who can go back to school as a non-traditional student, and anybody who can open up their own business, man, you have my admiration.
Both of my parents had their own businesses when I was growing up, so I'm like a big small business person. But Hannah kind of stole my thunder. I was walking yesterday, and I saw someone mowing their lawn, and I thought, I am so thankful for Salter that I do not have to mow my own lawn. They've been doing our yard for years, and I'm thankful for them, especially as I see that grass starting to grow. But another one that's really interesting in Ashland, there's a salon, Great Reflection Salon, and this weekend I got to pop by there, and they actually took a room of the salon because they were hearing from a lot of local folks, hey, there's no place to get clothes, and they opened the style room, which is like a little clothing boutique. And so I popped in there this weekend. A lot of the stuff you see me wearing on the show, I get some cute stuff there. I've taken my sister from Nashville there, but they've got like jeans, just women's branded, no men's. But like, Mother's Day's coming up. They've got jewelry and stuff, and I really think that's nice to see an existing business kind of pivot and say, hey, we could address this need of our community. And I'm so thankful because, it's hard to find, good clothes around here, and I can always go there and count on them.
On the Wake Up Columbia Facebook page, Marissa would like us to highlight Casa Maria's Mexican Cantina, which is a newer place here in Columbia. And then Plume, which is a really cute little gift shop kind of on the outskirts of town that has cupcakes and GoPo popcorn from Fulton, and I highly recommend that place as well.
Well, and our friend Demetrius Woods is opening another new business. He has his bodega downtown, but I think he's opening one here on the south side. And he's got, is it fish and, it's Munchies Fish and...
Yeah, he's got something right on the business loop. It's kind of a food truck, does food there, car dealing. Demetrius Woods, what a great story. A guy ended up getting out of prison early because some folks, including Cherie Tolson-Reich and even the Governor Mike Parson, working on his behalf. He gets out of prison. Now he spends his time, he's got businesses. He's hiring local people. He goes to school. This guy was the real deal gangbanger back in the day. You wanted certain amounts of drugs in Columbia, it went through this guy. He's now been on our show several times. Small business owner. This guy is doing great things. I got to go with Gus and Paula, Gap's Automotive Repair Shop. It's just a couple. They have a shop here and in Boonville. By the way, you know what we should do? We're doing the best of Inside Columbia magazine right now. All of these places that you're talking about, you should nominate them. You go to our website, 939theeagle.com.
You can also nominate your favorite local radio show.
Oh. Do that.
Or radio personality.
TV personalities, you can do that. Favorite places to eat. And I didn't get a chance to be, I've been there once, but Big Daddy's Barbecue just opened. I think they have a food truck for a while, and they just opened right off of the business loop where McClank's used to be. And I've eaten there once, but why I would nominate them, because the guy who owns, I think he works at Shelter Insurance. I think his name is Lloyd. But him and his wife, they do a lot of community work. How on earth this guy's able to work at Shelter and then run a restaurant and still does all of this philanthropic work that he still does? I just think it's remarkable what they do. 874, better yet, go to our website, 939theeagle.com. Best of Inside Columbia magazine. Berkey's Barbecue in Boonville. And see, we've got a couple of people mentioning, Sheila and Brent mentioning Berkey's Barbecue in Boonville. Sounds to me like that's two people that need to get on to Inside Columbia magazines and vote for the best of 2022.
I have been to Berkey's, and it is very good.
Jamilie's Donuts in Fulton.
Mm-hmm.
Booch's in Columbia. Favorite mom and pop stores. So that's what's hot with Hannah today. And surely we are leaving some people out because I know there's a lot of them out there. So help us. 874-9390, 874-9390.
We've also got Gilbane Motorsports, and let's see, Como Smoke and Fire is another one here locally.
Now I'm hungry.
So Carrie commented on the Wake Up Columbia Facebook page. She says she works right next to Nothing Bundt Cakes at a physical therapy place, and she gets to smell the cakes being made all day long. And I can't decide if I'm jealous or glad that I don't have to do that, because I would be over there all the time, every day.
Mm-hmm.
Protect in Place, safe rooms and shelters in Hartsburg. It's an interesting mom and pop business. What they do is they do safe rooms and shelters. And there's a whole bunch of other ones out there that I would like to mention. There's new seafood. Not new, but newish, like the crab place. Like they serve it in plastic bags, like good old fashioned. It's the Crab House or the Crab Shack or something like that. So a bunch of good small mom and pop businesses that we are trying to highlight this morning here in mid-Missouri, and we know there are sure a lot of them to be highlighted. Coming up at 7:50, we're going to be highlight. We'd like to do Psaki v. Ducey. You know, Fox's Pete Ducey. He's a great, kind antagonist to Jen Psaki in the White House.
Have you seen the Babylon Bees meme? Of course, it's satire, but it's like Photoshop pictures of Psaki and Ducey, and it's like Psaki and Ducey finally announced their engagement. Have you seen those memes? They're great.
Brian Hansen, the star of the Gary Nolan Show, showed those to me. I thought it was pretty funny. But this time, no Psaki as his foil. It's Biden. Biden versus Ducey. Ducey, thank you. That's coming up. We'll do that for you at 7:50 here on 93.9 The Eagle.
Hi, this is Henry, and I'm Brandon's dad. My favorite show on 93.9 The Eagle is The Gary Nolan Show.
Applause's Albert Pujols stepped out on spring training field in Florida yesterday. First time in a Cardinals uniform since, 11 years. How about that? By the way, my dad is, so Stephanie's going to be taking some time off later this week. My dad is going to be filling in on the show on Friday.
That's exciting. And I am not taking some time off. I am going to Washington, D.C. to go to the...
Is this a humble brag, Hannah? Am I witnessing a humble brag?
I'm the Missouri chair of the Missouri chapter of the Republican National Lawyers Association, and they are having a policy conference. So I am really excited. I think there'll be some senators and some other high-name people there. I'm going to get some selfies.
That's a humble brag.
I mean, I'm paying to go, but
it's definitely worth the humble brag.
Yeah,
I agree with it.
I'm not like lounging on a beach somewhere. I am like, learning new things and hobnobbing and that kind of thing. So
being Joe Manchin's ear, affecting policy change and trying to sway him on how to vote on KBJ. Welcome into the show. This is Wake Up Columbia. I am Branden, Rathert, Stephanie Bell. Hannah, the producer, is here. Doing kind of an interesting thing, and this ties in with our Best of Inside Columbia Magazine 2022. Just your favorite, because it's National Mom and Pop Business Day, and that's what's hot with Hannah today.
It is. It's posted on the Wake Up Columbia Facebook page if you want to go tag your favorite local business and give them a little shout out.
From Fayette. Go to Fireside Bakes and Brews in Fayette. That's a good one. A lot of good mom and pop businesses out there. If there's something you like and you want to give them some love, because listen, I really believe in these small local businesses. They do need all the love they can get, especially the ones in Columbia after what elected City Columbia officials did to these businesses over the past 2 years, man. They could certainly use your support. Coronavirus did not do that stuff to those businesses. It was elected servants in the city of Columbia. Biden and Ducey going at it yesterday. So, Biden, the White House is very clear every time they walk back at Joe Biden's statement, which is why I was laughing yesterday when we had people like Cory Booker saying, well, the White House has been very clear. And you had another lawmaker saying, well, the White House has been very clear. Well, they're clear on the walkbacks of the guy who's being unclear. But check this out. Fox's Pete Ducey asking Biden, and again, confirmation bias. Stephanie and I have been talking about this for over a year, since January 20th, 2021. How we look on a worldwide stage matters. And I'll go back to Andre Agassi's tennis commercials of the 90s. Image is everything. And we ain't got it. And it's hurting you, and it's hurting us. And Fox's Pete Ducey specifically asking Biden about some of this stuff.
No, you're going to ask a really nice question.
Well, it's an important question, I think. Are you worried that other leaders in the world are going to start to doubt that America is back if some of these big things that you say on the world stage keep getting walked back?
Sound familiar, Steph? Who's been saying that?
You.
We have.
Yeah.
Is that a humble brag, Hannah? We've been saying
I think
that.
you just said told you so.
Yep. This is exactly what Stephanie and I were trying to tell you last week.
Never said told you so. I'm saying, haven't we been saying this? Confirmation bias.
Mm-hmm. You're saying I told you so without saying the words I told you so.
What's getting walked back?
It made it sound like, just in the last couple days, it sounded like you told U.S. troops they were going to Ukraine. It sounded like you said it was possible the U.S. would use a chemical weapon, and it sounded like you were calling for regime change in Russia, and we know...
None of the three occurred.
What? I didn't say any of those three things. And
roll the tape.
Yeah. Goodness.
I mean, just those lies are as bad as the 4-year-old eating a cookie, and you're going to your youngest child, and your youngest child's name is
Eden.
Eden? Did you take a cookie from the cookie jar? And Eden's, sure didn't, Mom. While eating a cookie. That's how bad this 80-year-old dude is.
None of the three.
None of the three.
Mr. President?
You interpret the language that way. I was talking to the troops. We're talking about helping train the troops that are the Ukrainian troops that are in Poland. That's what the context. I sat there with those guys for a couple hours. That's what we talked about.
So when you said you're going to see when you're there, you were not intending to
I was referring to meeting with and talking with the Ukrainian troops who are in Poland.
And when you said a chemical weapon use by Russia would trigger a response in kind.
It will trigger a significant response.
What does that mean?
I'm not going to tell you.
Because I don't know. Oh, God. That dude's your president. Good morning.
A change in Russian strategy? I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. As the first round of talks with Ukraine in 2 weeks wrapped up today in Istanbul with no plans to continue them, a Russian defense official says they will fundamentally cut back operations near Chernihiv and the capital Kyiv, where some Ukrainian forces have taken back cities and towns. But President Volodymyr Zelensky told the Danish parliament
the intensity of brutality of hostilities that are being conducted against us have now reached a level that is higher than it was during the Second World War.
Russian troops are clamping down on Mariupol today. Heavy fighting in the last month has decimated this town, and the mayor defeatedly urging all remaining residents there to escape today. That is more than 160,000 people being told to leave their homes behind.
Fox's Alex Hogan in Lviv. Two ex-White House officials, Peter Navarro and Dan Scavino, could be the next Trump associates held in contempt of Congress. The committee investigating last year's Capitol riot unanimously recommending the full House take action, rejecting their executive privilege claim for not cooperating.
Committee Chairman Benny Thompson said Scavino and Navarro should come clean to Americans
about their roles in the attempt to overturn an election. The American people didn't pay their salaries to do that.
The full House will vote on the recommendation. Approval there will send the matter to the Justice Department.
Fox's Gernal Scott. Will Smith tells Chris Rock he's sorry for slapping him on stage at the Oscars Sunday night, calling that unacceptable behavior.
In the Instagram post, Smith says he reacted emotionally to a joke about his wife Jada's medical condition. In addition to apologizing to Rock, Smith apologized to the Academy, producers of the show, and everyone attending or watching.
Fox's Rich Dennis and the Academy's Board of Governors will be considering the incident tomorrow night after putting out a statement condemning Smith's actions. America's listening to Fox News.
Economists are warning that sanctions against Russia could cause unintended damage in America, triggering devastating inflation. As gas prices skyrocket, prices for everything could surge even higher, making the current 40-year record inflation look mild. Hi, this is Stephen K. Bannon, and I urge you to take immediate action to protect your savings by opening a physical gold IRA with my friends at Birch Gold. I'm a Birch Gold customer myself, and they have my highest recommendation. Just text the word PROTECT to 989898, and they'll send you a free info kit on how to get started. In my opinion, gold IRAs are one of the best ways to protect your savings no matter what happens in America or around the world. And the best company to work with is Birch Gold. So text the word PROTECT to 989898 to get everything you need to know about protecting your savings with gold.
93.9 The Eagle News Time with Robinson's Cleaners. Robinson saves you time. It is 8:03. It's going to be a beautiful day today. It's going to be warm compared to yesterday. Storms on the way, though, tomorrow. Cloudy skies this afternoon, our high 69. Cloudy again tonight with a low near 57, and then heavy rain tomorrow. 100% chance of rain, according to Kevin Schneider, our meteorologist, with a high tomorrow of 63 degrees. Good morning, everyone, and here's some of the stories that we are working on for you in this 8 o'clock hour. A Jefferson City man faces a potential life prison sentence after being convicted of murder in 7 other felonies.
The jury began deliberation last week in the trial of Juwan Worley and convicted him yesterday on 8 felony counts, including second-degree murder in the death of corrections officer Justin Camerich. Then Monday afternoon, the sentencing phase of the trial began, with the state asking the jury for life behind bars. Worley is accused of robbing and shooting Camerich and 20-year-old Alex Myers during a robbery on West Atchison Street back in December of 2018. Camerich was killed. Myers survived after being shot 3 times. John Marsh, 93.9 The Eagle.
John, thank you. Meantime, a trucker who was under indictment for involuntary manslaughter for the December crash that killed a Boone County Fire Assistant Chief has pleaded not guilty in court. 64-year-old Kevin Brunson made his initial court appearance on Monday via video, telling Boone County Circuit Judge Brooke Jacobs he did not have an attorney. Brunson again arraigned via video. He apparently fell asleep during the brief video court appearance. The judge says a public defender will be appointed for Brunson. The clock is ticking this morning right now as we speak for the Missouri legislature to approve a final congressional redistricting map. The Senate approved a new map on Thursday, but it's different than one approved by the House earlier this year. East Central Missouri Congressman Blaine Luetkemeyer hopes the House doesn't make any changes.
My greatest fear is that they start tinkering around with it in a way that the Senate then wouldn't pass it down the road a second time, and then you wind up going to the courts.
Senate map moves Boone, Cooper, and Montauk counties from the 4th to Lutkemeyer's 3rd district. If a new map isn't approved by 5 o'clock today, the districts enacted after the 2010 census would remain in place at least through this coming election. Columbia Regional Airport officials plan an April event to give you a behind-the-scenes tour of a $23 million new terminal under construction. That guided tour will take place on April the 12th. It will start at 3:30 p.m. Airport manager Mike Park says it's important for the public to have an opportunity to see the progress that is taking place at that location. If you need any special accommodations, if you have questions about the tour, 573-817-5064. And Jefferson City's next school superintendent describes the district's teachers as JCPS's lifeline to success. Brian McGraw is currently the Jeff City School District's deputy superintendent.
Without our teachers getting it done each and every day, we would be lost.
McGraw will become superintendent in July when Dr. Linthicum retires. He also served at one time as superintendent of the North Pocono School District for 11 years, that district in Pennsylvania. 93.9 The Eagle News is brought to you this hour by the Callaway Bank. The Callaway Bank is with you for the moments that matter. They have a dedicated customer care team getting you the help you need and deserve. 93.9 The Eagle News Time, 8:06. Turning our attention now to sports. The Mizzou baseball team will be making a short trip today. It's a road trip technically. They're on the road to head to Sauget, Illinois to battle Illinois, the Bragging Rights rivalry game. First pitch 6:05 tonight. You'll catch it on KTGR, our Zimmer station there from the Central Bank Tiger Radio Network. Tex and Matt on the call. The field today, GCS Credit Union Ballpark. It is where the Gateway Grizzlies play. Again, the first pitch tonight, 6:05. And Bass Pro officials have moved up a major anniversary's opening ceremony up one day. They're trying to beat a storm that's heading for the Ozarks.
Missouri Governor Mike Parson will join Bass Pro's Johnny Morris and some country music stars this evening in Springfield for the opening ceremony of the Bass Pro Shops World's Fishing Fair, which will celebrate the 50th anniversary of Bass Pro Shops in Springfield. Bass Pro describes the event as a one-of-a-kind showcase of fishing, boating, conservation, and the great outdoors. The opening ceremony begins at 5 p.m. Don Luzader, 93.9 The Eagle.
All right, Don, thank you. And Don is also reporting that ceremony will not be open to the public tonight. 93.9 The Eagle News Time, 8:07. All right, Kevin, thank you. Right now we have clear skies. It's 44 degrees. And our traffic check is brought to you by MidmoHires.com. Local companies are looking for local people. MidmoHires.com. Find a job or post your job opening today. Roads are pretty quiet here in mid-Missouri. If you want to report a traffic issue, call or text us 573-874-9390. More team coverage in less than 30 minutes. We have breaking news immediately. I'm Brian Hauswirth, 93.9 The Eagle.
Trying to take the subject in custody, and in doing so, the male subject had reached and got a hold of one of our deputies' guns. Didn't get it out of the holster, but was able to get the trigger pulled, and a round went off through the holster and into a second deputy's leg.
ABC 17 was chatting with the sheriff in Randolph County. His name is Aaron Wilson. Randolph County Prosecutor's Office charges dude. So here's what happened. I guess it was like late Saturday night, early Sunday morning, middle of the night, basically. Randolph County Sheriff's Department, they respond. Some kind of domestic dispute. And from what I understand, I've never been a cop. I've done ride-alongs. I've done documentaries. My sister is a cop. I chat with a good number of folks on the Columbia Police Department. Was chatting with Boone County Sheriff Dwayne Carey yesterday, but domestic dispute calls, from what I understand, that's the one that will get somebody in law enforcement and make them most trepidatious. That compared to most other calls, his deputies, they roll up 600 block Adams Avenue early Sunday morning. Deputies, apparently, they get into the home, they hear some screaming. They're utilizing their training to make sure they go in safely to keep everybody safe. They get in, they find a woman and this dude who they ended up arresting, Mr. Gamer, or Garner.
Garner, right. Mm-hmm.
On the second floor of the home, the woman apparently had injuries to her face. Deputies snap into action. So there's body camera footage you can see that shows a suspect reaching for a deputy's gun. Deputies trying to fight him off. Now, the guy was not able to pull the gun out of his holster, but what he was able to do is he was able to get to the trigger, pulled the trigger, and apparently hit the guy's right leg, hit the deputy's right leg below the knee, and I guess it really got his tibia and fibula. Apparently, he is going to be okay. They were able to repair and construct the leg, and that surgery was successful. But, you know, stories like that, especially when they're close. By the way, these stories are happening on a daily basis. People just going out and doing their job. You talk about people that could absolutely, positively be. I think everybody should make more money. I don't care what you do. Everybody should be making more money. Wouldn't that be nice? Everybody.
Law enforcement officers, for me, is close to the top of the list.
Law enforcement officers, EMTs, they should all be making more money. Everybody should be making more money because then we get dinged. We're paying more for gasoline, paying more for home energy costs, paying more for groceries. But we don't get more money. The consumer, all these people raise the prices on. I ain't getting no more money, but I'm throwing more money out. I ain't getting ahead in this picture. Now, see, up until 2020, here's my favorite question from the years 2016 to 2020. I would ask people, are you better off now than where you were 4 years ago? And I don't care who they were, male, female, black, Asian, whoever, young, old, whatever generation. Simple question. Are you doing better now than you were a few years ago? And it was a resounding yes for 4 years. And now, ask somebody, how you doing in the past year and a half?
Now it's a resounding HELL. No.
It's a resounding no. Gas, so I'm paying more for gas. I'm paying more for groceries. I'm paying more for home heating cost. Heaven forbid if I have to go and buy even a used car today. Oof. So all these things cost more, but I ain't getting no more money. I am worse off today than where I was January 20th, 2021. All you need to do to get into these conversations is ask real simple questions. But these officers should be paid more. And so this is one of our own local law enforcement right here in Randolph County. So let everybody know that we are thinking about that guy.
And his name is Zachary Baker. And in Branden, not a whole lot to add on that. It was on Adams Avenue, as you mentioned. The suspect has been charged. Layla Mitchell from our news partner at ABC 17 went up to cover his arraignment, facing numerous charges, including first-degree assault. Garner is 42. The only thing worth mentioning, again, Randolph County has had some terrible tragedies up there involving law enforcement for people, and we have a lot of listeners up there. They may remember we had 2 jailers who were actually shot to death on duty in the old jail. And that guy, by the way, Michael Tysius, has still not been executed. That happened in 2000. Guy tried to break out Tysius was convicted trying to break people out. And then the year before, 1999, Randolph County, it wasn't just the Randolph County Sheriff's Department, several Moberly police. There were 2 jail escapees, prison escapees from the state of Georgia, who went on a shootout up around Huntsville, literally had a shootout and they fired first at the police and the deputies. 5 deputies, including the one of the Moberly police, a guy named T-A-R-R, got shot in the eye, as I recall. And just some terrible things. Just goes to show you it can happen in just not urban areas. It can be suburban, in this case, very rural. It can happen. But you've hit it on the head. Those domestic disputes, that's just very, very dangerous.
You could be assaulted on stage at the Oscars. My God, no place is safe anymore. Will Smith is apologizing. Hey, man, I'm sorry I went up and bitch slapped you in front of millions. Oh, by the way, ratings still poor. And they'll, they will never be, I think, is what they were, because so many of us have different watching habits. Maybe over the past 2 years with fewer movies in the movie theaters, I don't know. And I think you'd put some of the 10 best movies out in the movie theaters starting this Memorial Day weekend, over 4th of July weekend, Labor Day weekend, all the big summer blockbusters. Does that mean more of us are going to watch award shows? I don't know. But ratings can continue to be down.
I disagree with Chris Arps. He said he thinks Will Smith was in the right. Do you think he was in the right to slap somebody?
I don't know, man. That was 2 hours ago.
You keep talking about the slap. I think he was right in the wrong.
Did you see one of the biggest songs missing from the Oscars was "We Don't Talk About Bruno"? Oh. Stephanie, you probably are familiar with the song.
Oh my gosh.
Branden might not be as familiar. Do you know what song we're talking about?
No.
From Encanto?
Mm-mm.
It's basically Disney's latest big hit song. And a lot of people were going, wait a second, we figured that would be a shoo-in for some big awards. But they entered it in the Spanish version of the song into a different category.
Oh.
And I don't think it won anything.
It plays at my house a lot.
Yeah, Branden, you've not heard this song?
No.
No?
They don't play that on KCMQ.
Well, basically, it surpassed Frozen's "Let It Go" as the top Disney song ever. So a lot of people were wondering where that was at the Oscars.
By the way, we're talking about mom and pop businesses. Hannah has uncovered that it's Mom and Pop Business Day, and so trying to give folks the opportunity to show love to local mom and pop businesses, not chain stores, not stuff like that, but honest to goodness, local, not franchises, honest to goodness, local mom and pop businesses, and there's a whole bunch of names out there. One I forgot to add really was the Zimmer Radio Group. It is a mom and pop business. Yeah, local business owners here in Missouri and good people to work for. People always talk about how great it is to work at like Veterans United and Shelter Insurance, and I agree with that, man. They're taken care of. But I think whenever people start talking about Veterans United and Shelter Insurance, you need to start including Zimmer in those communications for the philanthropy work that we do for the community. Let us bring our dogs to work, things like that.
Yes, I love when the office pups are here.
We're always having a party. They're always feeding us. It's fun. We're very careful about who we hire. We're normally very careful about who we hire.
You know how weird it was for me to go to like the break room and open the fridge and to see like some alcohol in the work fridge? I was like, oh yeah, I forgot. I work at a radio station now. Okay. It's not the norm for my law firm.
Doing a tour of the place, and I opened up the fridge and they had all the Bartles and James wine coolers a girl could want, and I said, this place is for me.
Especially when you open it at like 5:58 a.m.
Yeah. So welcome into the show. Wake Up Columbia, Stephanie Bell, Brian Hauswirth. That is Hannah, the producer. Apparently, new peace talks underway with Ukraine and Russia, and they're moving forward. And here's why. Joe ain't there. The European leaders are like, hey, Joe's gone. Let's settle this stuff now while he's not here. So potentially some movement on there. And I'll tell you, one of the big stories here in Missouri today, maybe movement on this Senate race. So we've had, I think, two really big things. Most of the polls for the 2022 U.S. Senate race, Republican side, shows Eric Greitens could advance from the primary with as little as 21, 22% of the vote and then go get clobbered in the general. Some polling numbers we are seeing is realizing those fears, but check this out. On the Democrat side, St. Louis beer heiress Trudy Bush Valentine. She's joined that heated race on the Democrat side. It's already got Scott Sifton, who is one of those who could very likely beat Eric Greitens in a general. He's already stepped aside, throwing his support behind this person. So I think that is a really big development this morning. He's changing the race.
And she actually already has a Twitter. I mean, I guess she didn't have one before now, but it's at Bush Valentine, and she's got an ad posted, and she goes through her history with the Bush family. I guess she talks about a husband, and then he died of cancer, and then she raised 6 kids on her own, and she's like on a horseback on a ranch. So, I mean, what'd Chris Arps call her? Claire McCaskill 2.0? I don't know that Claire McCaskill is a rancher, but again, I think there are some similarities in that, as Chris pointed out, she can self-fund. I mean, she's got a ton of money, and she'd be the only other, I think I've used this in the past, legitimate candidate, but the only other person that would have a chance to win that's a woman besides Vicky Hartzler.
Also, other big news as it relates to us even a little bit closer to home. So this redistricting map finally passed out of the state Senate last week. Yesterday, caucus meetings within the House. Still don't know where that's going. I spoke with a couple of House members yesterday. So, well, we did the caucus. We really didn't make any movement. We just had a lot of complaints. Now, and here's why that's key. Because there is a 5 p.m. candidate filing deadline today. So if a new map is not passed, the districts enacted after the 2010 census, those are going to remain in place. There's already lawsuits out there, and it looks like it might get just as fun as we had envisioned. Are you seeing that coming?
Yeah.
It looks like it'd be just as fun as we potentially envisioned.
Fun for us political nerds.
Coming up, we're going to be doing the Morning Bell business news with that little twist that only Stephanie Bell could give you. What's the twist this morning?
You know, Gen Z killed, the top sheet, and the coronavirus killed, buffets maybe. But I think they're killing something else. The pandemic and Gen Z. Are they killing
People are talking about Branden Rathert.
He's an outstanding man, and I'm sure that he'll do very well. I think he's just outstanding.
This is Wake Up Columbia, 93.9 The Eagle.
And they deserve all the help we can give them, but a lot of people do seem to think it's because they're white and Christians and the other ones aren't.
Absolutely, but the race baiters, it's the progressive news outlets, MSNBC, Ali Velshi. Well, of course America is going to take in the folks that are leaving and fleeing the country of Ukraine because they're white and Christian. They don't take in the other ones because they have different color skin. You notice who does most of the race baiting and who some of the most racist people are, and there is proof of it right there. It's the people on the progressives. They are the racists. They gaslight. We're racist. No, they are racist. They are the ones that bring up racism. Welcome into the show. Getting ready for our annual Boone County Lincoln Days. You can get tickets. Search Boone County Lincoln Days. We're going to have all kinds of local elected officials there. Candidates going to be there. Mark McCloskey is going to be there. Plus, Hannah and I are going to be there. That's happening Friday, April the 8th. At the Courtyard by Marriott. Right now, it's 8:26, time for the Morning Bell Business News with Stephanie Bell. And it's a little twist of business news that only Stephanie Bell can give you.
The Wall Street Journal is reporting that there are so many people out there looking for jobs now that they've kind of coalesced with one another and are taking a stand against the cover letter. And I think this might be slightly generational, too, for Gen Z. But apparently, people are sick and tired of writing a cover letter. And they're saying, you know what, we're just not going to do it. And because employers are so desperate for workers, they're basically having to live with it. And so I thought it brings up an interesting question because I don't know that anyone's ever been hired off of a good cover letter. It's basically a form like, I'm very interested in your position. I wouldn't say anything else because I'm trying to get this job. And I think my skill set matches with what you're looking for.
Well, and I've always thought that cover letters were kind of redundant because they're attached to your resume.
Right.
And the cover letter basically states everything that you're trying to portray in your resume. And also, if I wasn't interested in the position, I would not be applying for it. So why do I need to tell you that I'm interested in a cover letter?
I think, though, I have a lot of friends in HR, and I do think that some of them would say, even though, you're not going to get hired based on, a really good cover letter, it does help them weed through people, and it definitely puts people on the no list. Because I've heard stories of, if you have super bad spelling or grammatical errors, Branden, in your cover letter. That's a no for a lot of people. I think also you can tell whether someone has an attention to detail because a lot of people are churning these cover letters out. They'll write 10 and so they'll submit one to Zimmer and be like, I'm really looking forward to working at blank, insert wrong company. And well, they didn't read this before they emailed it in. The other one that I think is hilarious is that sometimes on their cover letter or on their resume, people will have a non-professional email address.
Yes.
That will get them in trouble and show maybe you should have thought about this before you turned it in. So I think employers do use cover letters to kind of screen for basic functioning.
FlyDaddy92
right.
at gmail.com.
Exactly. Exactly.
God.
And so I think employers might push back and say, no, we like that cover letter because it gives us some extra insight on whether this person can put together a basic sentence, have some self-awareness.
This is simple. Hi, Zimmer Communications. I'm writing in response to the all-access ad for the News Talk program director. I've managed and programmed News Talk stations in Lake Tahoe, Hartford, Connecticut, Fayetteville. Please review my program and management philosophy resume. So it's just quick. It's an introduction. It's not even a letter, but here's the good stuff. I want this job. Here's the links to my good stuff.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
That works.
Sounds professional.
We might look in some more into these. Coming up here at 8:35 on 93.9 The Eagle. Good morning.
That check of weather brought to you by Club Car Wash. Stop by Club Car Wash today to get an unlimited membership for $20 a month.
Fox News, I'm Chris Foster. To increase trust and resume peace talks, Russia's military claims it will cut back operations near Ukraine's capital, Kyiv, and Chernihiv in the north. Ukraine's President Vladimir Zelensky wants more done to hurt Russia's cash flow.
We need to say no to the Russian oil. We need to block trade with Russia. We need to close down ports for Russian ships. And this needs to be a policy of solidarity in the European Union.
President Zelensky speaking to the Danish parliament today. Will Smith publicly apologizes to Chris Rock for slapping him on stage at the Academy Awards.
Smith could still face heat from the Academy, who said yesterday the Academy condemns, quote, the action of Mr. Smith at last night's show. We have officially started a formal review around the incident and will explore further action and consequences.
That's Fox's Jackie Ibanez. No public response yet to that apology from Chris Rock. America's listening to Fox News.
.939 The Eagle News Time with Robinson's Cleaners. Robinson saves you time. Edie's 8:31 right now. We do have sunshine. We're expecting the sun to continue most of the day today. It's going to be warmer. Our high 69. Rain likely late tonight with a low near 57. Heavy rain all day tomorrow. 100% chance of rain and a high of 63. Good morning, everyone. Here's some of the stories that we are working on for you in this 8 o'clock hour. Missouri's 8 U.S. House district boundaries remain uncertain this morning after the Missouri House took no action Monday on a Senate congressional redistricting map approved last week. St. Elizabeth GOP Congressman Blaine Luetkemeyer tells Wake Up Columbia the issue is out of his hands. If the Missouri House doesn't approve a new map by 5 today, the 8 congressional districts enacted after the 2010 census will remain in place at least for this election. And again, they don't go in the House until 10 o'clock this morning. A trucker under indictment for involuntary manslaughter for the December crash that killed a Boone County assistant fire chief pleads not guilty in court. 64-year-old Kevin Brunson made his initial court appearance Monday. He told Boone County Circuit Judge Brooke Jacobs he did not have an attorney. Brunson arraigned via video. The next Jefferson City School District Superintendent pledges to work diligently as superintendent to grow a district of champions. Brian McGraw currently serves as the district's deputy superintendent. He tells 93.9 The Eagle he'll focus on recruitment and retention of teachers and also staff.
So we want to create that positive culture in the district, make them want to work here, want their kids to go to school here.
And McGraw will focus on student academic social success as well. He'll succeed Dr. Linthicum, who will retire in June. And Jefferson City man faces a potential life prison sentence. He's been convicted of second-degree murder for a 2018 killing. He is Juwan Worley. He was 16 at the time of the homicide. Our news brought to you this hour by Hemi Construction. Our news time, 8:33. Turning our attention now to sports. The Mizzou baseball team will be heading to the St. Louis area, Sauget, Illinois specifically, to play Illinois in the bragging rights rivalry game coming up this evening. First pitch 6:05 tonight, GCS Credit Union Ballpark. It's where the great Gateway Grizzlies play. Mizzou on the year 12-7. Catch all the action. Text Little Matt on our Matt Michaels as well. Our sister station, KTGR FM 100.5. Again, 6:05 tonight. Our sports is brought to you this hour by Huber and Associates. Our news time, 8:34. 93.9 The Eagle and 93.9theeagle.com. Our news time is 8:34. Traffic with midmohires.com. Local companies are looking for local people. It's been a quiet morning for traffic here in mid-Missouri. If you do want to report a traffic issue, you can give us a call or a text at 573-874-9390. More team coverage in less than 30 minutes, and we have breaking news immediately. I'm Brian Hauswirth, 93.9 The Eagle.
My God is mighty.
it's beautiful. Every time we play it, people are, why doesn't Hannah pick up the guitar again and start practicing some more? It made me think of this story. The Flash star Ezra Miller. Is anybody familiar with Ezra Miller, The Flash? I'm okay.
Not at all.
Not at all. Apparently, Ezra Miller, who stars in the upcoming DC Comics film The Flash. I love the headline of this story, and it reminded me of Hannah's karaoke there. The Flash star Ezra Miller arrested after Hawaii karaoke incident. So some karaoke incident got so out of hand, somebody got arrested. Police arrested the dude shortly after midnight, charging him with disorderly conduct and harassment, the Hawaii Police Department announced in a statement earlier this week. Police officers responded to a report of a disorderly patron at a bar. During the course of the investigation, police determined that the man, later identified as Ezra Miller, became agitated while patrons at the bar were singing karaoke.
He began yelling obscenities at one point and grabbed the microphone from a woman singing.
Wow.
I felt that way when I've been at karaoke before. I thought, I need to grab the mic from this person.
Please don't.
Also, most people have to knock a few back before they sing karaoke, so I suspect there was some alcohol involved in all of this.
Bon Jovi's Bed of Roses song was hot. This was like probably 1991, and I was sporting the
mullet?
Sporting the mullet.
Oh, man.
And I was rocking that mullet. Some dude came up and he's like, "Hey man, I'm going to sing Bon Jovi's Bed of Roses," and he's in like the acid denim and everything, and he's got his mullet and I got my mullet, and he's like, "I just want to know if I could use your girlfriend to sing to her and you won't." I said, "Man, I'll Will Smith jack your ass, man." But some people take karaoke very seriously. Welcome into the show. This is Wake Up Columbia. I'm Branden Rathert.
I'm Stephanie Bell.
Good to see you. Brian Hauswirth here.
Howdy.
That's Hannah, the producer. So were we going to do some more of this cover letter stuff? Do you have more on this cover letter stuff? We're going to talk about something else Stephanie's just now uncovering.
You always spring these things on me. Okay, so folks in the Capitol are reporting that there is there are not enough votes in the House to pass the map that was passed by the Senate. And so that is just being reported. One option they're saying is to go to conference, where then they appoint conference committees. I don't know how many people that is. It's a handful of.
It depends on what. Usually it's a 5 and 5.
Okay, and they would sit down and then try to find a compromise themselves. At which point both sides would have to approve the conference version, I believe.
Boy,
right?
it's an interesting, because Stephanie, I don't know if they can go to conference right now. Again, this is a little complicated because the House passed their version. Senate came back. Okay, I guess they could theoretically go to a House committee right now, but the absolute drop deadline here is 5 o'clock, and the Speaker and the pro tem would have to waive the rules, and this rises to that level because there'll be floor debate going on. They'll have to waive rules where these members, like Shaw would be in there for sure. Perhaps Sarah Walsh would be allowed to miss floor votes so they could confer. I do think, Branden, to something we talked about on this, Representative Sarah Walsh had every right and has every right to go to the floor, and she feels very passionately about it. She has a little political cover here, too, because Democrats are not so much sticking up for her district here, but Democrats are concerned about the 2nd Congressional District because it's become very, in a way, much more Republican. And a lot of the Democrats have concerns about it, and I think that's to Stephanie's point. There are Democrats split over this as well. So you've got Democrats who are mad about the 2nd. Obviously, Sarah Walsh wants her district in the 4th. I think, they could go to a conference. The other thing that could potentially happen, they don't do anything, and then 5 o'clock rolls around. And I'm not an attorney, but based on what Secretary Ashcroft said sitting next to us, that even if someone filed a lawsuit, and there's been lawsuits, the way he explained it, if I heard him right, is that these maps that are in effect from 2010 would still be in effect for this election, and then they would redraw it for the next one. So a lot of things are at stake right now. Boone County, we don't know what district we're going to be in, and we probably won't know until about 5 o'clock. Same with Cooper, same with Montauk, and it will be interesting to see. But there are some Democrats very unhappy about what's happened with the 2nd District.
To Ashcross people saying, hey, can we just go ahead and get some Ashcross time tomorrow because we're probably going to need
He's really,
it.
to me, he's the key on this, guys. He really is the key because he is the chief elections officer, and we think of him of elections, but I do believe he had some very important information. I learned a lot in that interview that we had with him, and I was not aware of the because we just haven't seen anything quite like this. 2010 wasn't even this dramatic, and they were overriding Nixon's vetoes.
Well, and importantly, he pointed out we wouldn't be in this situation but for the federal government screwing up the census timeline.
Right.
And so you're right, we haven't been in this situation, before exactly. However, we have had redistricting struggles in the past. Our maps have gone to the courts. There have been situations. But really, I mean, it is the failure of the federal government during the pandemic that caused these that put the squeeze on the legislature. And it's not an easy task to do it in such a short amount of time.
Very, very much so. And if you guys remember the three of us at the governor's prayer breakfast, which seems, and in some ways seems like 3 lifetimes ago, the governor said to us, and all the lawmakers on both sides were confident they could get this thing done in January, but we did have a couple of guests who were concerned about it. One specifically really wanted this to be addressed in a special session last fall so they could have gotten it over with and gotten it taken care of. Here we are, the final day of filing, and we still are. It just kind of exemplifies how this session is going. We don't know what is going to happen, and but absolutely, if they go to a conference committee, they're going to have to waive the rules to let them miss floor votes. There's no other way to do it because they're going to have to do it. And they may be tied up in that meeting all day if they do that.
All right, just sent a message to Jay. Say, hey, Jay, we're going to need some of your time tomorrow because it doesn't look like this is going to be a done deal. But here's why. If you're listening right now, 8:42, you're listening to Wake Up Columbia on 93.9 The Eagle. You're like, well, why does this matter? It matters for several reasons. Number one, it's going to determine who your congressional rep is going to be. Is it going to be Lutkemeyer? Is it going to still be the seat currently held by Hartzler? There's a lot of things to know here, and not a lot. Listen, we're coming up on April.
Right.
August is not that far away, and I know that you're listening. I know that you're going to take a lot of time to carefully parse through, for example, candidates in the 4th Congressional District. There are some pretty stout candidates, like almost any of these candidates you collect and be good with, but you got to find the one that you're more comfortable with. There's Taylor Burks, there's Sarah Walsh, there's people from the Kansas City area.
Senator Bratton's in there.
Senator Bratton's in there. There's a lot of good, like I could almost flip a coin, but I don't want to flip a coin. I want to know who I get as the best. So that's why these things that are playing back today, they're going to matter tomorrow. They're going to matter moving forward and trying to figure out, okay, who gets the map, and ultimately who is going to decide that, because the time runs out today, 5 o'clock for filing.
Yes.
And after that. Also, off the text, you guys really got to get Hannah to sing Smelly Cat.
No.
Are you familiar with the Smelly Cat song?
From Friends?
From Friends.
Didn't Phoebe have like a head cold? She was singing Smelly Cat.
She did a song about Smelly Cat, and I could totally see you bringing your guitar in.
No, you can't.
And but you got to do it every time we play Hannah singing. See, I think she could pull off the Smelly Cat. You think she could pull it off?
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
I'm not nearly ready for live performances.
Well, you know who else plays the guitar?
For those of you who are wondering, this is my real voice.
Just because I can doesn't mean I should.
Player, so I think Hannah's been relying on his skills. So you can sing and he can play. How about that? We can have a little duet.
I don't know.
I like that idea. Coming up about
I'm sure you do. I'm sure you do.
I would love to hear you play Smelly Cat, because you would nail it. Bring in your guitar and nail it.
Dude, I know 4 notes and 0 strum pattern.
Smelly cat. That's three strums, man. You got this. You got this. Live life on the edge. Coming up, leftovers here on the show on 93.9 The Eagle and 93.9theeagle.com. Do want to remind you, if you want to join us, coming up Friday, it's a Feel Good Friday. We're doing this event on a Feel Good Friday, April the 8th, Boone County Lincoln Days. Is there a website link we can go to get tickets for the Boone County Lincoln Days event?
You'll be able to get more info on the Wake Up Columbia Facebook page later this afternoon.
All right, so you go to the Wake Up Columbia Facebook page. We'll have links there. Tickets only $50. You get dinner, and there's going to be, Mark McCloskey. He is going to be there running for Senate. Blaine Lutkemeyer, local elected officials, some candidates. It is going to be a really good time. Would love to see you there. Hannah is going to be there. I will. Lagoons. Your lagoons got to be emptied. You know, those can cause problems. Your septic tanks, you need to have those maintained. Grease traps, those need to be maintained. And especially, you know, you come into town, we were talking earlier about mom and pop businesses, and we're celebrating mom and pop businesses in Missouri. Pro Pumping and Hydrojetting, one of those mom and pop businesses, literally. Mom's in the office, dad's out running the truck, and then they got some other mom and pop married couples that work for them because they're such good people to work for. But they go out and they maintain septic tanks. So that way you don't ever have a big problem. That's one of the biggest problems we see when it comes to septic tanks. It just bubbles over. Usually does it on Easter Sunday, right? When the kids are in their Easter duds, they're looking the best. That's the one day of the year your septic tank overflows and causes a big problem. Mom, I think I found an Easter egg. I'm not sure what it is. Don't let that stuff happen at your house. Make sure you're connected with our friends at Pro Pumping and Hydrojetting. Get onto their website, put you on a maintenance program, so ideally you'll avoid any kind of big problem, big nasty problem, and a big expensive problem. Pro-pumping.com.
This is Wake Up Columbia, featuring Branden Rathert on 93.9 The Eagle.
I think we're going to have a great year. We've got great candidates running around the country. We've got some primaries. The Democrats have primaries. And their primaries, I think Bernie Sanders-type candidates are going to come out. The Biden agenda is very, very, very unpopular. So as long as we raise our money, as long as we, focus on big, bold ideas, I think we're going to have a great November.
And keep Republicans out of jail. Jeff Fortenberry, Nebraska, this week pleading guilty, I think, to lying to FBI investigators about campaign money. Here's what was happening. Some rich dude was coming to his parties, and he was bringing like $30,000, and he'd give a bunch of money to those people, and then they would go and give it to him. So the money's shown it wasn't coming from him. He admitted he lied to the FBI. Days later, stepped down from office. Ideally, it's that conservative convict
versus Rhino Jesus. So would you rather have someone who is morally Jesus, but who's a little squishy, or someone who you think will govern super conservatively, but might be a little bit morally questionable?
So in that situation where he's very likely going to jail, it does me no good either way, because if he's not going to be there to do the job and do the job of the American people, I'm kind of screwed either way.
Yeah, I mean, we faced some of these issues before. We had a House member who had a bunch of accusations, was it last year? And he actually got kicked out. The House had to, basically force him out. And then, you think about... I think that's why some people can hold their nose on the Greitens allegations, and others say, you know what, I'd rather have someone with better morals, even if, they might not be as conservative. Now, there are arguments that there are people in the race who are both, right, who have good morals and who are super conservative. But this new announcement yesterday, I think, really shakes things up and has me a little nervous.
That's interesting. There's Stephanie Bell. I'm Branden Rathert. Brian Hauswirth, Hannah, the producer.
Here's a big old serving of leftovers on 93.9 The Eagle. Enjoy.
All right, before we get into the Gary Nolan Show, my dad's favorite show here on the radio station, we'd like to do some leftovers, some of the stuff we may or may not have covered during the show today, but do want to make sure that we get into it. On Friday, something that we had been covering for a while here on the show, the Mule Skinners meeting last week. Mayoral candidates, Tanya Heath, who is our I can't speak for Stephanie or Hannah or Brian, but my number one pick for mayor is Randy Minshew. Number two pick, Tanya Heath, and that's because she asked. Nobody else asked to be the number two pick. She did so. But it was brought up concerns over splitting the progressive vote at Mule Skinner meetings. This was after we covered several letters that candidates had been getting, and I had spoken with all of the mayoral candidates last week asking, okay, who's getting what letters? 2 letters going out. One from somebody signing them, Harold Green, best we can tell, doesn't exist. Another one from the progressive Como teachers. David Seaman. Barbara Buffalo, Tanya Heath, and then the candidate that dropped out. Of those 4, Barbara Buffalo said she was the only one that did not get any of those letters. And these people are saying, wait a minute, we're not going to drop out, because this is a republic. People get to vote on the candidates, and we're going to go, and you know what? We may lose the election, but we are going to let the people make that decision. I'm not going to make the decision by dropping out. I'm not going to drop out because I think it's going to benefit somebody else. I'm going to let the people pick. Plain and simple.
So you agree there that they should be allowed to stay in the race?
They can do whatever they want.
So what about in the Senate race? If this person who just announced, Valentine Bush, really picks up steam, do you think Republicans should coalesce around one candidate and that people who have no chance of winning should drop out to make sure that we keep the seat red?
No, I think if you want to run.
Okay.
Run. Right?
Okay.
That's the republic, right? That's the republic idea.
But at some point, would it be like, is there a party over personality or ego that you say, you know what, I have no chance of winning and it's more important to me to keep that seat red than to, push my own ego?
Yeah,
my own
I understand
person?
what you're saying. Party over person. I would still take form of government over party. The form of government is we get to vote for people, and Now, I could say I ain't got no money I'm getting out of the race. I could fudge my reasons why. By the way, Barbara Buffalo, she's got the endorsement by Missouri and Kansas laborers PAC. Anything else you got for leftovers?
Redistricting. I mean, I think all eyes. We've talked about it. It's not leftover, but the news that what we have recent, as of 20 minutes ago, is that perhaps there are not the votes in the House to pass the Senate map, and that more changes are coming, and that leaves Boone County in limbo. We had thought maybe just because of as of 6 a.m., we thought maybe because of the timing that Senate map would just sail through. So what we know now is potentially no.
Potentially won't, and then tomorrow should be a fun day. And here's the thing, and I'm joking, I say it's fun, but, I think people just as a voter, I want to know, okay, which ward am I in? Which candidates do I need to be focusing on? Please, let's move forward. This one final piece, so, on the late night TV, you got folks like Jimmy Fallon, Jimmy Kimmel, Stephen Colbert. Stephen Colbert typically